Beg pardon, I think we need to start.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, we shall begin. It's YouTube live and Principal Sir has already been there in the meeting.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, but it's low. Okay. Hello?
Should I start, sir?
Yes? Yes, go ahead.
A very good morning to one and all. My salutations to Lord Gautam Buddha and the architect of Indian Constitution, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Principal and the chairperson of the webinar, Honorable Dr. Yeshwant Patil, sir. Chief guest, Honorable Dr. Avinash Moharil, Principal, Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Amaravati. Guest of honor, Honorable Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov, Madam, Professor and Head Department of Education and Dean Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, RTM Nagpur University. Convener of the webinar, Honorable Dr. Sudesh, Bhowate, sir, NAC Coordinator and Head Department of English. Respected all the teachers and participants. I would like to accord a warm welcome to you all on this occasion of one-day national webinar on a new education policy. As per our tradition, we would begin the program with the university song. I do request Dr. Bhowate sir to please begin with the song, university song.
ज्ञानं विश्वासान्तिदातान भक्ताः देवं तं शरणं भक्ताः वाप्रेयानुग्रहं पुनरात्मता विधराज।
Thank you, sir. I once again welcome you all in this one-day national webinar on new education policy. The new education policy on the national policy on education, the policy formulated by the government of India to promote and regulate education in India. The policy covers elementary education to higher education in both rural and urban India. The first NPE was promulgated by the government of India by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1968. The second by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in 1986, and the third by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2020. New education policy is a matter of importance for everyone in the country. What are the new changes introduced in this policy? When will it be implemented? Will it be able to bring about a revolutionary change in the education system through the change in academic structure of 10+2 to 5+3+3+4, importance to vocational training and critical thinking, flexibility in choosing subjects, interdisciplinary studies, multiple entry and exit program, etc. Will the government be able to reach the goal of 6% GDP to be spent on education? Will it maintain the international standard? Will it lead our country towards becoming a developed country? And so many more questions need to be addressed. And this webinar aims at not only addressing these questions, but also spreading awareness about the same. On this positive note, now I would like to invite Dr. Sudesh Bhowate sir to make an introductory remark. Over to Dr. Sudesh Bhowate sir.
Thank you, Megha. Good morning, one and all, respected guests and participants. I am Dr. Sudesh Bhowate, IQAC Coordinator of Dr. Udukara Vasnik, PWS Arts and Commerce College, Nagpur. I welcome you all warmly in this one-day national webinar on very important topic like New National Education Policy 2020. First of all, I would like to pay my homage to Lord Buddha and Dr. Bhowate Ambedkar, who are our chief source of inspiration. Chairperson of today's webinar, our principal, Dr. Yeshwant Patil sir, his guest and resource person, Dr. Avinash Moharil sir, from our principal, Mahila Mahavidyalaya Amaravati. Another guest of honor and resource person who is available with us today, Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov Madam, Professor of Education and Dean Faculty of Interdisciplinary, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur. Other guests of honor who are available here, our Secretary, Dr. Mohan and Joint Secretary, Manoj Vasnik. I welcome all respected academicians, professors from across the country, delegates from different spheres, and dear students. I welcome you all again in this important national webinar. Before we go into the details of seminar, I would like to brief about our college. PWS, Dr. Udukara Vasnik, PWS Arts, Commerce and Science College was established in 1968. To tell you the little story of this beginning of our college, a young MBBS doctor of 25 years, Dr. Udukara Vasnik, when he started his practice in North Nagpur, he saw there was no educational institutions in the 10-kilometer spheres, and students from higher educational aspirants of this region, especially backward communities and minority communities, they had to travel a longer distance up to CPN Berar College, Morris College, and looking into such problem of our students, Dr. Udukara Vasnik initiated this institution when he was hardly 32, 33 years old. From that point onward, this institution rendered great service to the society and brought out more than 50,000 graduates and postgraduates. We have three important streams: arts, commerce, and science. Science is recently introduced last year itself, but we have arts and commerce for the last 54 years. We have 11 departments for post-graduation, and we have 9 departments for postdoctoral PhD research. We also have Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhist Studies Research, and many UGC courses we have introduced in our college during last 15-20 years. With this brief introduction of our institution, I would like to highlight a little bit of this webinar, especially highlight of National Education Policy 2020. This National Education Policy has been introduced on 29 July 2020, and it came after a lapse of 34 years. You know that last education policy was implemented in the year 1986. I request all members to please mute yourself. New education policy was prepared and made under the able chairmanship of our scientist K. Kasturi Rangan, who is our ex-chief of ISRO. 4 important points are here that we have to keep in mind when we think of NEP 2020. So we can say that these are the 4 pillars: access, equity, quality, and accountability. These are the 4 important pillars on which this national education policy is based. And the very important aim of this policy is to bring in 100% cross enrollment ratio, means no in the country should left out of education. Each and everyone should be in the mainstream of education. This is what the main aim of this education policy. A vision I should mention here, the vision of this education policy is, I quote, the National Education Policy 2020 envision India-centered education system that directly contribute to the evolution of our nation, endeavoring into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by giving them a top-class quality education. This is what very important vision the framers and government put before them before initiating this. The new national education policy, when it was launched, from different spheres of society and from academicians, reactions are coming, and many educationists and scientists, they are now talking about advantages and disadvantages of this education policy. We are all going to listen all that. What are the pros and what are the cons of this education policy? So I am leaving all that detail to our resource person, who are great scientists of education, and they are well read in this particular topic. With this brief welcome and introduction, I would like to close my speech. Thank you for giving me a patient listening. Over to Megha.
Thank you, sir. We have with us Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov, Madam, as a guest of honor and a resource person. And it is indeed an honor to introduce you to Madam. Dr. Rajashree S. Vaishnov, Madam, is a professor and head postgraduate Department of Education and Dean, Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies, RTM Nagpur University. She is an MSc, MEd, PhD, NET and SET. She is a product of Institute of Education, Center of Excellence, Devi Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, and she is the recipient of National Merit Scholarship, Government of India. She has more than 28 years of teaching and research experience. Dr. Vaishnov has conducted several researches and action researches and published more than 100 research papers, articles in various international and national journals and conferences. Dr. Vaishnov has authored 18 reference books and 2 research monographs. Her 9 books are published by Scholars Press Germany, Cambridge Press UK, IGI Global USA, and Lambert Academic Publishing Deutschland, Germany. She is also a doctoral level research guide in the Faculty of Education of RTM Nagpur University. 30 students have been awarded their doctoral degree under her guidance. Presently, she is supervising 8 doctoral level research projects in the Faculty of Education. Her research area is in the field of instructional system design, computer-aided instruction, multimedia instruction, program instruction, online learning and evaluation, virtual classroom, flipped classroom, blended learning, collaborative learning, learning disabilities, guidance and counseling, etc. She is the chairperson of Equal Opportunity Cell of RTM Nagpur University. She is a member of Board of Information Technology, Board of Research, and member secretary of Board of University Department and Interdisciplinary Studies. She is also a member of Academic Council, member of Senate of RTM Nagpur University as well. Dr. Vaishnov is also a member of Research Development Committee in Education at Punya Shlok Ahilya Devi Holkar University, Solapur, MS, Guru Ghasidas Central University, Bilaspur, CG, Mahatma Gandhi International Hindi University, Wardha, MS, Hemchandra Yadav Durga Vishwavidyalaya, Durg, CG, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur. She is also a member of National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, peer team, and a member of National Council of Teacher Education, NCTE visiting team. Ma'am is also a member of Board of Studies of Education at RTM Nagpur University, Gondwana University, Gadchiroli, and Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Open University, Bilaspur. Dr. Vaishnov has developed 18 learning resources that includes group guidance program for adolescents, computer-aided instructional material for 9th class biology for CBSE students, program learning material on environmental education for adults, secondary and primary level learners, integrated curriculum for multi-grade schools, teaching strategies for ADHD and dyscalculate children, etc. She's also a visiting faculty at Human Resource Development Center of Rashtriya Sant Tukaroji Maharaj, Nagpur University, Nagpur. She has conducted more than 100 workshops and expert lectures for in-service teachers of university, colleges, and schools. She has delivered several keynote addresses and expert lectures at various international and national conferences across the country. This is indeed incredibly wonderful, CV ma'am, and it is an honor to have you with us. I accord you a warm welcome and request you to please deliver your address. I invite Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov ma'am to deliver her address. Over to Dr. Vaishnov ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Megha, for kind introduction. Honorable Principal of the College and Convener of this webinar, Dr. Yeshwant Patil sir. Another speaker and resource person, Professor Avinash Moharil, Principal Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Amaravati. The coordinator of this webinar, Dr. Sudesh, Bhowate sir. Other teachers of the college, other dignitaries and participants who is a part of this one-day webinar. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the PWS College for organizing this webinar on such a special issue, which is very important and very relevant in the present scenario. Because if you look at the present higher education system, we need to revamp our system as per the need of the global development. And to keep my points in a very elaborative manner, I just want to share my PPT with you, my presentation with you. So I'm just sharing my PPT with you and we'll go ahead. Is it visible?
मैम आवाज आ रही है?
Just, sir, my screen is visible.
No, ma'am, not yet.
Okay, I'll share. Just a minute. Now, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I'll discuss with you this National Education Policy 2020. What are the challenges we'll face and what are the opportunities for higher education institution? I always believe in discussion of ideas because I feel that strong mind discuss ideas, average mind discuss events, and weak mind discuss people. So let us discuss some ideas of what this National Education Policy says and how this policy will be helpful to make our system of education very effective. Because when you discuss ideas, this like ideas are the currency of success. This separates us from our own competition. So let us go ahead with the National Education Policy 2020. This National Education Policy 2020 is basically, it tries to bring synergy in curriculum across all levels, which I can say that from early childhood education to higher education, because this is the first time this policy is addressing the education right from the pre-nursery, we can say that early childhood care education to higher education. Means it is the policy which says that the curriculum needs to revamp and there must be a coordination, a synergy between the curriculum from early childhood care education to higher education. If for my today's talk, I'll discuss with you about what are the national education policies, major emphasis. Then the most important aspect is what are the guiding principles and objectives of this policy. Then we'll discuss a little bit about the education in India, like right from the post-independence, what are the key developments has been already been taken place, and what are the challenges the current higher education system is facing. Then we'll discuss about the what NEP is suggesting for higher education institutions and researches, because the basic purpose of HEIs is teaching and research. So this education policy is also emphasizing on this aspect also. So if I look this national education policy, this is the policy which envisions an Indian-centered education system. That means this is the policy which always trying to focus that our education system should be an Indian-centered education system. And why we need this? To contribute directly to transform our national sustainability into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing higher quality education to all. When we think about the providing equitable and vibrant knowledge society, of course, as we are aware that we need to focus on the quality of our education. So this education policy is focusing on providing high quality education to all. And for that reason only, they have emphasizing on revamping the curriculum from early childhood care education to higher education. If you look at the major emphasis of this area of this policy is the development of creative potential of each individual. What does it mean that creative potential? It means that education must develop cognitive foundational capacity of literacy and numeracy. If I say that, what is the literacy and numeracy? In the year 2005, Government of India has conducted a survey for the school children. Before 2005, the survey was conducted and result came that the school education children lacks the basic skills of literacy and numeracy. Means they pointed out the shabby condition of our school education also. So that's why this policy is, major emphasis of this policy is to development of the cognitive foundational capacity in amongst the each learner. Another very important aspect of this policy was that is the cognitive higher order, development of cognitive higher order capabilities. Like every individual should have a critical thinking and problem solving abilities, along with they should have social, ethical and emotional capacities and disposition. Because if you look at the present society, we are finding somewhere our social connect is lagging, somewhere our emotional aspects are little bit in a troublesome portion. Because of this, our youth are facing lot of mental problems. Then some ethical issues are also concerning in our society. So this education policy is majoritarily emphasizing that India should have a good social connect, have good value system, good societal ethical values and emotionally sound young individuals. If you look at the guiding principles of this policy, this policy emphasizing on the rich heritage of ancient and eternal knowledge and thought. That is very, very important aspect that so many policies has come, but this is the policy which is emphasizing on the ancient eternal Indian knowledge and thought, because we all aware that from ages, Indian system of education, Indian society is considered as one of the most knowledgeable society. If you look at our all these monuments, our all these developments, this is far away from the Western society. So previously the Indian was a knowledge hub. So the pursuit of knowledge, gyan, we call it wisdom, that is pragya, and truth, that is sat, was always considered in Indian thought and philosophy as the highest human goal. So what is the purpose of a human being? Being a human, that means a human should have a knowledgeable person, he should have a wisdom, and as well as he should follow the path of truth. So this is the guiding principle of this policies also, which is basically a guiding principle of our ancient system of education. So the purpose of education in ancient India, if you look at that, it's just not the acquisition of knowledge and preparation, but basically it is the preparation of life for this, not for in this, but beyond this world. That means life beyond schooling. But for the complete realization and revelation of self, we need to understand that the life of in this present scenario should have this knowledge, should have wisdom, as well as should follow the path of truth. So these all are the basic guiding principles of this policy. Because why I'm emphasizing on this, once you understand these guiding principles, it will be very easy for us to implement in its true sense. Now, another objective of this national education policy is to develop good human beings, which should have rational thought and action, possessing compassion and empathy, courage and resilience. That means along with the scientific temper and creative imagination with sound ethical mooring and values. So every time if you look at these objectives, because whenever any policy comes before us, the first thing as an educationist, as a teacher, I always believe that everyone should go through what is the objective of this national education policy. So if you look this basic objective of this national education policy is the development of good human being. And how a good human being can be developed? Through they should have a rational thought, they should have a compassion, empathy, as well as courage and resilience. So scientific temper is another very important aspect, plus creative imagination. So we need a sound person with ethical moorings and values. This policy is also emphasizing on producing engaged, productive, and contributing citizens for building an equitable, inclusive, and plural society. So that means our constitution is also envisioned a society where everybody should engage in a systematic manner. They should be productive for the society, they should be productive for the nation, and they should be a contributing citizen who can contribute to the development of the nation. Another very important objective of this policy is to provide quality institutions for safe and stimulating learning environment conducive for all. What does it mean? The policy is also focusing on the environment and the quality of educational institutions also. So this quality educational institution, they suggested across all stages, not only for the higher education, they are envisioned that the quality educational institution right from early childhood care education to higher education. So these all are the basic objectives of this national education policy, and it also emphasizing that to provide quality education to all, irrespective of their locality, historically marginalized, disadvantaged, and underrepresented groups. As we are all aware that Indian society has a number of types of groups. So many people are the marginalized group. They may be suffering because of their locality, because of their social connects. They may be considered under the minorities or disadvantaged. So this NEP is trying to get all these persons and trying to provide quality education for all these. Another very important aspect of this national education policy, the objective is to achieve economical and social mobility, inclusion, and equality. What does it mean? When you provide quality education as per local and global needs, of course, the country will utilize its rich diversity and culture, so we can achieve the target of economic and social mobility as well as inclusion and equality. That means education should be at doorstep of every individual as per their local and global needs. That's why this policy, if you look and read the policy, everywhere it is emphasizing that local and global needs should be considered while developing your curriculum, while providing education, or while designing your teaching strategies also. Then another important objective of this, they want to develop self-confidence, self-knowledge, cooperation, integration, and feeling of national pride by providing knowledge of rich social, cultural, artistic, language, and knowledge tradition with the strong ethics of India. See, if you look at the present scenario, if you talk to your young generation, they always want to go to the Western countries for higher education. Why they want to go? Because they do not have self-respect for their country's education. They don't have the values towards their ethics and all these things. These things are deteriorating day by day. So to develop a pride of being an Indian, this policy is striving, and that is the guiding and basic objective principle of this policy. So if you look at the national development throughout the post-independent India, certain key developments, let us see that first, the first commission related after the independence, in 1949, University Education Commission has came, and they developed through this commission, University Grants Commission, IITs, and the multifold expansion of higher education system was developed. In 1953, the Secondary Education Commission came, and this commission has emphasizing for special institution for girls education, women, teaching staff in co-education, women education. All these has been taken place because of the recommendations of the University Education Commission and later on with the Secondary Education Commission. If you look at during the 1966, the Education Commission that we call focus on national system of education, in which they have tried to transformation in system, improving standard and quality, and expansion of education facilities. So if you look at all these previous policies and post-independence, so then later on in 1968, national policy on education has been given, and during this 1986, we again have national education policy that is adopted, and by that Operation Blackboard and restructuring and reorganization of teacher education has been taken place. In the year 1988, National Literacy Mission launched. So why I'm emphasizing all these things? Because if you look the national education policy in a new perspective, we have to look back what we have did and where we reached, what is lagging in the existing system. So if you look at the 1988, they have started the National Literacy Mission that was launched, and because of that, majority of Indian states have been achieved the maximum literacy percentage. In the year 1992, again, National Policy on Education 1986 was revised. Then they have started in 1948, District Primary Education Program has been launched. In 1995, Midday Meal Scheme has been launched. Then again, 1999, Department of School Education and Literacy created with MHRD, Government of India, and in the very innovative move have been taken place in 2001, that was the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Because of that Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, the school has reached to each and every corner of the country. Then along with this, national policy on empowerment of women, children, child care facility, creches at workplaces for women, all these facilities has been created along with this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So all this development is already taken place in our country. And in 2002, 86th Amendment of Article 21A is to provide free and compulsory education for all at the age group of 6 to 14. That has been created as a fundamental right. So all these things, our development is the background of our national education policy. Similarly, if you look at the Article 45 provision of early childhood care and education to children below age of 6 years, it was already there. But the 10th and 5-year plan, 2002 and 7 was launched. In 2003, National Youth Policy has been formulated. 2004, says introduced to provide financial provision for universalization of elementary education. And the very important development has been taken place in 2004 itself. That was the EduSat, a satellite launch dedicated to education for delivery of quality education to all. So all these development, if you look this in 2000, again, 5 national curriculum framework has been formulated for school education. Then in 2009, very important aspect has came, that is the Right to Education Bill, that was Right to Education Act 2009. Through this education, we'll be able to provide free and compulsory education to all children at the age group of 6 to 14 years. Then they have made special provision for early childhood care and education for age group 3 to 6 age group. Then similarly, along with the 2009 policy, they have launched the National Literacy Mission, focus on female literacy and Sakshar Bharat Abhiyan, that is Literate India. National Adult Education Program was also launched. The revised National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education was also formulated. And the most important, the Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan has been launched. During this period, inclusive education for, I request the participant, please keep your mic on mute state. Inclusive education for disabled at secondary stage. Similarly, girls hostel for secondary and higher education is also started. So if you look at the key development in the Right to Education Act, that Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was aligned with the Right to Education Act. Then ICT facilities are provided to schools. Then in 2011, vocationalization of higher secondary education was done. 2012, 5-year plan was launched. Again, in 2013, National Early Childhood Care and Education Policy was adopted, where the integrated child development services, we call it early childhood care and education, was restructured and restrengthened. In 2014, again, National Education Policy was adopted. So if you look at whatever I have given you a glance of the previous policies, so the implementation of these previous policies on education was largely focused on issue of access and equity. The unfinished agenda of the National Education Policy was, which was in 1986 and modified in 1992, was that appropriately dealt with this policy. This new education policy is dealing with the unfinished agenda of the 1986 policy also, because during this 1986 and 1992, the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, which laid down the legal underpinning of achieving universal elementary education to all. So if you look at the previous policies, majority of policies were struggling and were emphasizing on the enhancement of our higher education and education system to the country with the access and equity. So all these issues were already dealt very effectively during the previous policies. Then what is remaining and why this policy is coming up? What is the issue? So my focal point is that because this webinar is for the higher education institutions, so I'll keep my focal on the higher education institutions. What is the need of present higher education system? What are the present higher education scenario? So let us see that if you look at the current higher education system, we find that present higher education system is having the fragmented ecosystem, where we are getting the poor learning outcomes and development of cognitive skill of students. We all are, majority of us are belongs to the education, the teacher education, teacher fraternity, and we all agree that we are getting poor learning outcome from our graduates. They have they lack the development of proper cognitive skills among the students. Another very important challenge before this present higher education system is that we have very rigid, inflexible separation of discipline. We have lack of quality higher education in socio-economically challenged areas. We have low teacher and institutional autonomy. This is one of the very important challenges. We don't have the much institutional autonomy in the existing system. Then we have inadequate career management and progression for faculty, institutional leaders also. Then another very important aspect is that we have lack of research funding across all disciplines. If you look at from 2014 onwards, So the research funding has been decreases tremendously. So this is one of the very important challenge before the higher education. Then another very important aspect that suboptimal governance and leadership in higher education institutions, poor regulatory mechanism that inhibits growth of excellence and innovation in higher education, then large number of affiliation to universities resulting in poor undergraduate performance. These all are the few challenges which our current higher education system is facing. So now how this new education policy is addressing these challenges, let us try to get into it. What are this new education policy is about? So I'll focus on this national education policy. This national education policy is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is dealing with the school education, where the present system of early childhood care education, where that was an optional, now it has been made it compulsory. Then the school education has changes and has done a lot of changes, which we can be deal on the next time. But the part 2 is dealing with the higher education. Then the part 3 is dealing additional key focus areas like professional education, adult education, promotion of Indian languages, technology in education, online and digital education. Then part 4 is also a very important aspect, how this can be achieved, how we make it happen. That is strengthening of the central advisory board, financing, and roadmap how to implement this national education policy 2020. So let us go with my main theme is the part 2, that will be a higher education. So if you look at the part 2 of higher education, in which they have the quality universities and colleges, they are focusing on the universities and colleges should be a quality institutions, a new and forward-looking vision for India's higher education system. Then they are also focusing on institutional restructuring and consolidation. They are also focusing on holistic and multidisciplinary education. Then optimal learning environment and support for students also. Then the most important aspect is motivated, energized, and capable faculty. Because if you look at any system of education, the backbone of any system of education is the faculty. So this policy is emphasizing on how we can motivate and energize our capable and make our faculty most capable. Then then another aspect is equity and inclusion in higher education. Then it is also emphasizing on teacher education and reimagination of the vocational education. So these all are the major highlights which is focusing for the higher education institutions. Then if you look at the detail of this policy, because most of them have been gone through with this policy, but I just give a few glimpses what this policy basically focusing and what this policy needs from all higher education institutions, that all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institution, have 3,000 or more students by 2014. What does it mean? That means that the policy, as per the policy mandate, that every institution should be converted into multidisciplinary institution. Right now, we have a standalone institution where we used to have certain streams in our colleges. We have a standalone teacher education institutions. We have a standalone engineering colleges. We have standalone polytechnic institutions. All these institutions are providing education in their particular domain only. But as per this policy, all these institutions should be converted into a multidisciplinary institution, should have more than 3,000 students enrollment. That means, what does it mean? It means that institution cannot run standalone courses. They should be converted into multidisciplinary institution. That is a very far vision for this policy, because this policy will try to achieve that all the institutions to be converted into multidisciplinary by 2040. Then at least one large multidisciplinary institution in or near every district by 2030. That is also very important aspect, that कि 2030 तक हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी इंस्टीट्यूशन होना चाहिए जिसमें 3,000 से ज्यादा बच्चे होंगे. And the another very important aspect is to increase the gross enrollment ratio (GER) of higher education, including vocational education, from 26.3% to existing जो हमारा higher education का GER है वो 26.3% है. This policy envision that it should be increased by 50% by 2035. What does it mean? Next 15 years में we have to increase our GER by more than 50%. Then the policy says that single stream higher education institution will be phased out over time and all will move towards becoming multidisciplinarity. What does it multidisciplinarity means? The institution should have, one institution should have all the streams along with the vocational streams, so that will benefit the students in a different manner. Then they also want that the affiliating system of colleges will be gradually phased out in 15 years. Right now, the university has n number of affiliated colleges, but this policy envision that this affiliating system of institution should be phased out. Like the PWS college will not be later on the affiliating institution. It will be an institution which provides degree to the student directly. That means from next 15 years, no affiliation in the university. This is one so very, very welcoming move for the higher education institutions, because it will provide greater autonomy to institutions. It will give the strengthen the teachers to provide quality education. They can frame their own syllabus. They can design their own way of teaching and curriculum. All this is possible when you convert this affiliating institution into degree providing institution. Then another very important aspect for higher education is that presently we have nomenclature. There are n number of nomenclatures in our higher education institutions, like deemed to be university, affiliating technical university, unitary university. This all shall be replaced simply by university. Now we will not, later on, will not say that this is central university, this is state university, affiliating university. Instead of only one term will be there, a university. Now what is university? The university will mean a multidisciplinary institution that offer undergraduate and graduate program with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. Please focus on that. They want that every institution not only provide teaching and research, but they want that community should be involved with the higher education institution. So community engagement is very important aspect which is highlighting in this national education policy. Then this definition will allow a spectrum of institutions ranging from those that place equal emphasis on teaching and research, that we call research intensive university and teaching intensive university. So the university will be categorized into two categories. One category will be the research intensive university, where the major focus will be on the research, and the teaching intensive university, where major focus will be on teaching. So what does it mean? Do these institutions will not go for these three things? No. Every institution should have to go with the teaching, research, and community activity, but the research will be emphasizing more in the research intensive universities, whereas the teaching should be more emphasis. It should be given more emphasis the institution which we converted into teaching intensive universities. So this is one of the structural changes this NEP is suggested. Now the existing, we have big IITs. So these engineering institutions are providing education only in the technical field. Now they have to move towards the more holistic and multidisciplinary education that will focus more on arts and humanities. So the student of art and humanities will aim to learn more from science. So now why it is important, why they focusing on the converting this engineering institution? Very important object behind that. They want to develop multifaceted personalities, and they want to develop multifaceted aspect of students. For that, they need that.
Participant
Please, I request participants, please keep your mic on mute state. So they want that science students should learn a little bit of art and humanities. Art and humanities students should learn the science. So there should not be a airtight compartment for in that like previously what happened, the science student are able to learn only the subject related with the science. So they can develop a one aspect like analytical power, critical thinking, all can be developed, but they are lagging in the emotional development aspect. So when you will all these two types of this domain togetherly, of course, you can develop a good human, be able to develop a good human being. Then another important like department in languages, literature, music, philosophy, Indology. That is very important aspect, and that is Indology, art, dance, theater, education, mathematics, statistics, pure and applied sciences, sociology, economic, sports, translation, interpretation will be established to strengthen at all higher education institutions. That means every higher education institution should have a department of language, literature, music, philosophy, plus art, dance, theater. Then education is also one of the important aspects, mathematics. Then pure and along with pure and applied sciences, they should have sociology, human, sports also. Translation and interpretation is also given more emphasis. So all these department should be in one higher education institution, and that's why they will convert this HEI into a multidisciplinary institution. So this is one of the very important changes they have envisioned, and they want to convert by 2040 that all institutions should be converted into multidisciplinary institution. Then a question comes in my mind, how the multidisciplinary institution should be converted, how the single standalone institution should be converted into multidisciplinary. A very simple aspect is that we should focus on the clustering of institutions. So instead of running the single institution, 2, 3, 4 institutions come together and they can form a multidisciplinary institution concept. That will be a very, very essential in the present scenario, because some institution is having the expertise in one field and they have their faculty for a one expert area. Then another institution has another faculty expert area. So they can club together and they can make a constitution into multidisciplinary institution. So that is one of the idea which is focusing on. Then they are also focusing on the existing system of graduate and undergraduate program. So existing, we have 3 years undergraduate program. So the undergraduate degree will be of either 3 or 4 years duration with multiple exit options. Now, why we need these multiple exit options? Because we all witnessing that so many students, because of their financial problem, because of their family responsibility, or because of their some other reasons, they are not able to continue with their degree programs. Sometimes they exit by completing only first year. Sometimes they exit continuing with the second year only. So all these students has to be included in the mainstream education. So this policy has given that we should reframe our existing curriculum system in which we can have option of multiple exit option and multiple entry option. So how this multiple exit option will be possible? Because once you revamp your curriculum in such a manner that once a student has completed only 1 year, like so यदि first year का उसने first semester और second semester करने के बाद, if you want to leave, he can get a certificate after completing 1 year in a discipline or field, including vocational or professional areas. All this. Then after 2 years, if he wants to exit completing only after 2 years of his education, he will be provided with the 2 years diploma. That is, and if he completes 3 years, then he will get a bachelor's degree. Existing में जो हम इस तरीके की bachelor degree दे रहे हैं, उसी तरीके की degree देंगे. Then यदि 4 year का वो complete करता है, तो multidisciplinary bachelor's program shall be preferred option. That is also suggestive. So the 4-year degree will lead to degree with the research, graduate degree with the research, if the student complete a rigorous research project. So that means जो हम अभी तक undergraduate में there is very late opportunity for research in undergraduate program. So if we convert the existing undergraduate program into such type of program where we can provide opportunity for conducting a rigorous research project, then we can provide a degree and into a graduate degree with research. So all these are the suggestive measures given in the National Education Policy 2020 related with the higher education. So this is one of the very important aspect that we go ahead with the multiple entry and multiple exit by revamping our curriculum. And I am very happy to share with you that our university has taken one step ahead with that. Recently, we have organized the meeting of the Board of Studies chairman, and we are planning for that how we can convert our existing curriculum, keeping in mind the option of multiple exit and multiple entry, and how we can convert our existing curriculum into choice-based credit system, so that every student will get benefit, and we can provide multidisciplinary education with multiple exit and entry options. Another important aspect which is suggested by this national education policy is the creation of academic bank of credit. That means this academic bank of credit will be established, which would digitally store the academic credits earned by the student. See, when you are telling that if the student can exit their education anytime, that means whatever the degrees he has earned, whatever certificates, diplomas he has earned, that should be included in the academic bank of credit. So whenever he enter in the education system again, that credits can be utilized, can be clubbed, and the degree can be completed by the student. Then higher education institutions shall move away from high-stake examinations towards continuous and comprehensive evaluation. That is also very important aspect. Like what we are present system says that at the end of the semester, we conduct a university examination conducted by the university. We call it end semester examination. But because of this end semester examination, we are able to evaluate only a single aspect of the student's personality. If you go for the continuous and comprehensive evaluation system, of course, you will be able to judge the other aspect of the student's personality. You will be able to judge his personality in a much better, you will be able to develop his personality in a much effective manner. So they are emphasizing on CC, continuous and comprehensive evaluation pattern. For that, we need to convert our existing curriculum into outcome-based education program. So these are the three very, very important sub-points which is hiding in this policy, is that conversion of our existing curriculum into choice-based credit system with the outcome-based education pattern, where we will be able to provide the multiple options to choose for the student, as well as we'll be able to provide the multiple opportunity to evaluate the student. A comprehensive evaluation is possible if you adopt this policy in a systematic manner. Then another very important aspect, that India will be promoted as a global study destination with providing premium education at affordable cost. An international students office at each institution hosting foreign student will be set up. अभी तक क्या होता है हमारे institution के अंदर, like our state university, we do not have any foreign any option to accommodate or to attract the foreign students in our institution. अभी तक majority of Indian students are going abroad for their education, but the lateral entry हो ही नहीं रही है. फॉरेन से हमारे पास बहुत लिमिटेड नंबर के स्टूडेंट्स आ रहे हैं, जबकि we have n number of indigenous knowledge, and जो नॉलेज सिस्टम है वो हमारा बहुत स्ट्रेंथन है, बट उसके लिए हम स्टूडेंट्स को अट्रैक्ट ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. So this national education policy suggested that every university should have an international student affair office where they can attract the foreign students towards the Indian institutions. Then another important suggestion is that high performing Indian universities will be encouraged to set up campus in other countries also, like selected universities. Then very important aspect, that if you have very good in your academics, if a university is performing very good, they can establish an office with the help of the government at other countries also. Similarly, the other 100 universities will be allowed to run their campuses in India. This is one of the very important challenge before our all existing higher education institutions, that if the foreign universities will establish their offices, will come to India to provide education, then of course it will be a great challenge for our institution to survive. That's why we have to convert our institution to be a high quality institution. Then only by 2040 we'll be able to survive in the existing scenario. Then another important aspect, that is multidisciplinary education and research universities, MERU, at par with IITs, IIMs to be set up as model of best multidisciplinary education of global standard in the country. ये एक बहुत बड़ा विजन है कि हमारे पास में अभी तक कुछ few IITs हैं, few IIMs हैं, but वो अपने अपने डोमेन के अंदर एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं. तो उन सारे IITs और IIM के अनुसार उनको भी मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी में कन्वर्ट होना होगा, और हमारी जो एग्जिस्टिंग यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं उनको भी मेरूज में कन्वर्ट होना पड़ेगा, जिनका कि मेन टारगेट होगा टीचिंग प्लस रिसर्च and community engagement. So this is one of the, if you want to convert your institution into at par with the global universities, you have to involve your community, you have to involve your local needs, you have to involve your local need in your researches, then only your university will be converted into a multidisciplinary education and research university. Then another important aspect which is focusing on in this NEP is that National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across higher education. This is a very important move which is given by the National Education Policy, that we should have a National Research Foundation, a uniform umbrella structure for all, whether an institution is a public institution, whether it is a private higher education institution, all will be governed by the same set of norms for regulation, accreditation and academic standards. This is a very very important move है कि जिसमें आज हमारे पास ऐसा होता था कि यदि कोई गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन है, कोई पब्लिक इंस्टीट्यूशन है, उसको कुछ अलग टाइप का हम ट्रीटमेंट देते हैं, कोई प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन, प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से क्रिएट किया हुआ इंस्टीट्यूशन है, तो उसके जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं वो डिफरेंट है. तो यहाँ इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में इक्वलिटी की बात की गई है, वेयर गवर्नमेंट, वेदर यू आर हैव ए गवर्नमेंट नॉर्म और यू हैव ए प्राइवेट सेटअप, all should be treated at par in case of their regulation, in case of their accreditation and maintenance of the academic standards. Now, another very important, which I was telling you, that National Research Foundation will be created for higher education institution. So this NEP 2020 proposes establishment of a National Research Foundation. We call it NRF. The goal of this NRF will be to develop a culture of research in our university by providing all possible support to all kind of higher education institutions. Just now I told you that this financial support, the support for the research funding should be given at par to all institutions, at par to all teachers, whether you are working in a private institution, whether you are working in a government institution. So they want to create a robust ecosystem for research. That is important due to the why this robust ecosystem of research is important. If you look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, so India is one of the part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So 2030 तक जो 16 सस्टेनेबल गोल्स यूएन ने डिसाइड किए हैं उसको भी इंडिया को अचीव करना है, और उसमें मेजर जो एम्फेसिस दी गई है दैट इज ऑन क्लाइमेट चेंज, population dynamics and management, biotechnology, digital marketplace, machine learning, artificial intelligence. All these are the focal point for the research in our National Research Foundation. तो ये सब चीजों के ऊपर लोकल नीड के हिसाब से हमें रिसर्च को स्ट्रेंथन करना होगा, और रिसर्च को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए हमें हमारे लोकल चीजों को ही देखना होगा. So why we need a research? A question always comes कि हम बहुत अच्छा पढ़ा रहे हैं अपने एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन में, हम बहुत अच्छे टीचर्स हैं, तो हमें रिसर्च की क्या जरूरत है? So if you want to make India a leading knowledge society by utilizing potential of its vast talented pool, we require expansion of research capabilities and output across all the disciplines. अभी तक क्या हो रहा है, हमारे रिसर्चर्स केवल फ्यू डिसिप्लिन तक फोकस हैं जो कि क्वालिटी रिसर्च कर रहे हैं, बाकी इंस्टीट्यूशन का रिसर्च आउटपुट बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं है. सो दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी वांट्स दैट आवर research capability should be expanded. Then through research we can progress towards robust economy, intellectual society with good environment and technological advancement for progress of our nation. If you look at the research and innovation investment in India is the current time is only 0.69% of GDP. That means we are like less than 1% spending on the research. But whereas if you compare these research expenses with the United States of America, they are spending 2.8% of their GDP, whereas the countries like Israel, they are spending 4.3%, and South Korea is also spending 4.2%. So when we say that India is lagging behind in researches, of course, our research expenses or ours is very less. It is less than 1%. So this NRF, through this National Research Foundation, the government wants to expand this research expenses, and they want to achieve that good quality research. So this is also very, very important move hai, and opportunity hai for the higher education institution. We should expand our research. Then the country's identity, culture, spirituality, intellectual satisfaction, and creativity is depicted through its history, art, language, and culture. So research in the art and humanities, along with innovations in the science and social sciences, are extremely important for the progress of nation. ये सभी को पता है कि हमारी जो कल्चरल और स्पिरिचुअल एस्पेक्ट हैं, जो है वो बहुत स्ट्रांग है, और हमको यदि अपनी आइडेंटिटी को मेंटेन रखना है, तो ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव टू कन्वर्ट our existing society into research-based society, where we can conduct good researches in case of arts and humanities. So evidence from history shows that the best teaching and learning process occurs in an environment where there is a strong culture of research and knowledge creation is maintained. जितना ज्यादा हम रिसर्च करेंगे, उतना हमारा नॉलेज का एक्सपांशन होगा, हम एक बेटर नॉलेज क्रिएशन कर पाएंगे. तो आपको अवर एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम को 3 legs of stool को फॉलो करना होगा, where we have to follow the research, teaching and community engagement. जब तक आप कम्युनिटी को अपने रिसर्चेस में इन्वॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, आपकी रिसर्चेस इनोवेटिव नहीं होंगी, और जब इनोवेटिव रिसर्चेस नहीं होंगी, तो उसकी रिसर्च आउटपुट का कम्युनिटी को कोई फायदा ही नहीं हो पाएगा. So I just request to all that we have to rethink in case of how to involve community in our community problems in our existing research. If you look at as I suggested you that the government is planning to increase the research funding. So if you look at the present scenario of research funding institutions, so that currently fund research such as Department of Science and Technology, DST, is giving some funds. Department of Atomic Energy is also providing some research funding, DAE जिसको हम बोलते हैं, Department of Biotechnology, DBT. Indian Council of Agricultural Research is also providing research funding. Then Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, is also one of the body which funds research. Then Indian Council of Historical Research is one of the organization which also funds research. University Grant Commission, UGC, but now presently 2014 के बाद इन्होंने funding कम कर दिया है. Then various private and philanthropic organizations are also funding to the reverse. But what NRF will do? The National Research Foundation will coordinate with other funding agencies and to ensure synergy of purpose and avoid duplication of effort. अभी तक ऐसा होता है कि साइंस में यदि हमको कोई रिसर्च करना है, तो वी हैव एन नंबर ऑफ ऑप्शंस लाइक DST, DAE, DBT, ICR. ये सारी की सारी जो फंडिंग है, ये साइंस को फोकस है, और ह्यूमैनिटीज के रिसर्च के लिए हमारे पास बहुत लिमिटेड अपॉर्चुनिटी है. इंडियन काउंसिल ICSSR जिसको हम बोलते हैं, उसके साथ हम जा सकते हैं, या थोड़ा बहुत हिस्ट्री से रिलेटेड रिसर्च है तो आप हिस्टोरिकल रिसर्च इंडियन काउंसिल ऑफ ICHR को अप्रोच कर सकते हैं. सो ये सारी जो है NRF क्या करेगी? NRF विल गवर्न इंडिपेंडेंटली ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है कि ये जो है गवर्नमेंट के कंट्रोल में नहीं रहेगा, ये इंडिपेंडेंट होगा गवर्नमेंट में, और ये जो है बेस्ट इनोवेशन और जो रिसर्च प्रैक्टिसेस हैं उसको अक्रॉस ऑल फील्ड को प्रमोट करने की कोशिश करेगा. क्योंकि अभी तक क्या होता है, यदि आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट DST का लेना है, DBT का लेना है, तो हर रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट प्रोवाइडिंग फंडिंग कंपनी एजेंसीज की अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. तो ये सारे के साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए एज ए रिसर्चर बहुत तकलीफ होती है, और नेचुरली हमारे रिसर्च आउटपुट उससे अफेक्ट होते हैं. तो जब यदि हमारे पास नेशनल रिसर्च RFI होगा, नेशनल NRF की जो होगी, नेशनल रिसर्च फंडिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन का कोलैबोरेशन होगा थ्रू NRF, तो हमको बहुत आसानी हो जाएगी, और हम एक क्वालिटी रिसर्च इन केस ऑफ नॉट ओनली द साइंसेस, ह्यूमैनिटीज, कॉमर्स एंड अदर इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम के ऊपर भी हम क्वालिटी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशन कर पाएंगे, और इंस्टीट्यूशन को फंड्स की कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. ऐसा इस पॉलिसी में सजेस्ट किया गया है. So we hope that this policy will strengthen our research capabilities, so that we will be able to generate new knowledge and create a better knowledgeable society. Then The primary activity of NRF will be fund competitive peer-reviewed grant proposal of all types and across all disciplines. सारे डिसिप्लिन के अंदर क्वालिटी रिसर्च प्रपोजल को फंड किया जाएगा. Then they will help in seed, grow and facilitate research at academic institutions, particularly at universities and colleges where research is currently in nascent stage. We all are aware that कि हमारी जो research output है वो बहुत ही nascent stage में है. So this NRF will mentor these type of institutions and provide research funding for the quality research. They will work as a liaison between researcher and relevant branches of government as well as industry, so that research scholars are constantly made aware of the most urgent national research issues. ये सबसे बहुत अच्छी वेलकमिंग मूव है इस पॉलिसी का कि हमें आजकल का करंट रिसर्च इश्यूज हमको पता ही नहीं होते हैं. तो एक रिसर्चर को जब इसके थ्रू कौन कौन सी रिसर्च इश्यूज हैं जिसके ऊपर अर्जेंट रिसर्चेस की जरूरत है, कौन कौन से नेशनल इश्यूज हैं जिनके ऊपर रिसर्च की जरूरत है, यदि हम उसको अवेयर कर पाएंगे तो ऑफ कोर्स they can pick up such type of researches and our research quality will automatically improve. If you look at the foreign universities, if you look at their researches, you will find that majority of their researches is focusing on their national needs, on their local needs, और वही लोकल प्रॉब्लम्स को वो अपनी रिसर्च के लिए पिकअप करते हैं. जबकि हम इंडियंस क्या करते हैं, हम अपने रिसर्च टॉपिक को पिक करने के लिए फॉरेन जर्नल्स को देखते हैं, उनके कोई तो भी इस रिसर्च को ही आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश करते हैं. और अल्टीमेटली क्या होता है, वो जो रिसर्च का आउटपुट है वो हमारे लिए सोसाइटी को अप्लीकेबल नहीं हो पाता है और हमारी रिसर्च में वो क्वालिटी नहीं आ पाती, इसीलिए हमारे पेपर्स भी उनके इंटरनेशनल जर्नल्स में पब्लिश नहीं हो पाते हैं. So because I'm in the research field, I request to all of you that if you pick up a local need, a local topic of research, of course your research quality output will increase and your papers will be acclaimed across the globe because of their quality output, because of their quality research. So इसीलिए ये बहुत important है कि जो NRF है वो हमको इस issues के बारे में aware करेगी. Then it will make aware to the researcher as well as policy makers for the research, latest research breakthrough and to optimal brought into policy and implementation. It will also help in recognize outstanding research and their progress. So this is one of the very very important aspect है कि ये जो NRF है यदि हम इसको systematically functional कर पाएंगे तो it will change of course the scenario of our country's higher education system. Now another very important, as I told you that it is focusing on governance also, क्योंकि अभी तक हमारा जो है बहुत अच्छी गवर्नेंस हायर एजुकेशन में नहीं है, वो हमारी एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है हमारे सामने. So this national education policy ने Higher Education Commission of India HECI will be set up as a single umbrella body for the entire education excluding medical and legal education. केवल मेडिकल और लीगल एजुकेशन को छोड़ करके अभी तक हमारे पास यूजीसी थी, यूजीसी के साथ साथ हमारे पास एआईसीटी है, हमारे पास एनसीटी है, हमारे पास में वोकेशनल एजुकेशन की अलग बॉडी है, फार्मेसी काउंसिल है, मेडिकल काउंसिल है, ऐसी एन नंबर ऑफ बॉडीज हैं. तो केवल लीगल और मेडिकल एजुकेशन को छोड़ करके बाकी सारी बॉडीज विल कम अंडर वन अम्ब्रेला दैट वी कॉल इज Higher Education Commission of India. We call it HECI. So HECI will be having 4 independent vertical, namely National Higher Education Regulatory Council NHERC for regulation. उस नियम बनाने के लिए, उनकी गवर्निंग रूल्स बनाने के लिए हमारे पास में जो हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया के अंदर HECI के अंदर 4 बेसिक पिलर्स होंगे. तो पहला होगा जो कि रेगुलेशन फ्रेम करेगा, दैट वी कॉल नेशनल हायर एजुकेशन रेगुलेटरी काउंसिल. सेकंड अम्ब्रेला हमारे पास होगा, सेकंड पिलर होगा जनरल एजुकेशन काउंसिल फॉर स्टैंडर्ड सेटिंग. दे विल सेट द स्टैंडर्ड, दे विल सेट द स्टैंडर्ड करिकुलम आल्सो, इस पे उनका होगा. देन हायर एजुकेशन ग्रांट काउंसिल के अंतर्गत आएगा HEGC which provide funds to institution and for the जो नेशनल हायर एजुकेशन रिसर्च फंडिंग है वो भी इसी का पार्ट होगा. Then we'll have a National Accreditation Council, जैसे अभी तक NAC था उसी तरीके से for accreditation. So these all are the 4 basic pillars रहेंगे जो कि हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन को गवर्न करेंगे. तो बहुत सिंपल सा है कि अलग अलग गवर्निंग बॉडी के बदले वी हैव अ सिंगल अम्ब्रेला विच वी कॉल हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया। उसके अंतर्गत ये सारे पिलर्स होंगे और ये इंडिपेंडेंटली काम करेंगे, ये इंडिपेंडेंटली वर्टिकली काम करेंगे और ये हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन को स्ट्रेंथन करने में हमें हेल्प करेंगे, ऐसा इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी ने इन्विजन किया है। देन एक और इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है कि an autonomous body, the National Education Technology Forum will be created for providing a platform for the free exchange of ideas and use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning and administration. ये एक बहुत important aspect है क्योंकि क्या हो रहा है, previously if you look at the global scenario, तो टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट बहुत ज्यादा हुआ है, बट हमारे हायर एजुकेशन सिस्टम में उस टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट के साथ में कॉप अप करने के लिए थोड़ी सी परेशानी हो रही है। तो अभी जो नेक्स्ट जो नेशनल एजुकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी फोरम है, ये एक प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड करेगा जिससे हम हायर फ्री एक्सचेंज ऑफ आइडियाज ऑन द यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, जैसे अभी बहुत सारे आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत सारे फंड्स प्रोवाइड किए जा रहे हैं जिससे हम टेक्नोलॉजी इनहांस्ड एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम्स बना सकें और डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन के प्रोग्राम्स रन कर पाएं। तो उसके लिए ये जो फोरम है ये हेल्प करेगा। देन विल हैव, अभी तक एक और चीज जो इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट था कि हमारे पास में हर डिग्री प्रोग्राम में एडमिशन लेने के लिए अलग अलग टेस्टिंग एजेंसीज थी, जैसे कि नीट की एग्जाम होती है, देन यू विल हैव इंजीनियरिंग का एग्जाम अलग हो रहा है, देन विल हैव अनदर, अभी जो है हर इंस्टीट्यूशन की अपनी एक एंट्रेंस एग्जाम हो रही है। तो वो सारी जो एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन है विच विल कवर अंडर वन अम्ब्रेला दैट इज कॉल्ड नेशनल असेसमेंट सेंटर परख हैज बीन क्रिएटेड टू असेस द स्टूडेंट। ये एक बहुत अच्छा इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है और यही परख उनके एंट्री को भी गाइडलाइन देगा और एग्जिट को भी गाइडलाइन देगा। इट ऑल्सो हैज टू इंक्रीज द पब्लिक इन्वेस्टमेंट इन एजुकेशन सेक्टर टू रीच 6% ऑफ जीडीपी फ्रॉम 4.6% ऑफ इट्स टोटल जीडीपी। अभी तक हम टोटल शिक्षा पर कितना खर्च कर रहे हैं, 4.6% कर रहे हैं। तो गवर्नमेंट वांट्स दैट दिस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इन्विजन दैट कि हम प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स और पब्लिक इन्वेस्टमेंट को बढ़ाएं, जिससे हमारा जो जीडीपी का 4.6% इन्वेस्टमेंट के बदले हम उसको 6% तक अपने एजुकेशन पर इन्वेस्ट कर पाए। तो ग्रेजुअली ये सारे जो मूव्स हैं ये नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में सजेस्ट किए गए हैं रिलेटेड विद द हायर एजुकेशन। So if you look at the learning plan, so certain, let us have a key plan. So स्कूल एजुकेशन को यदि हम ये बात करें तो स्कूल एजुकेशन में let us sum up that universalization of education from age to class 12 by 2030, mission to ensure literacy and numeracy scale by 2025। ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है हमारे सामने। मदर टंग इज मीडियम एज ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन टिल क्लास 5th wherever possible। ये भी एक नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में कहा है कि 5वीं क्लास तक हमको एजुकेशन मदर टंग में दिया जाना चाहिए। देन न्यू करिकुलम टू इंक्लूड 21st century schools like coding, vocational integration from class 6 onwards। इफ यू लुक एट द सीबीएसई स्कूल्स के अंदर वोकेशनल एजुकेशन को इन्होंने इंक्लूड किया है और अभी हर स्कूल के साथ में जो वोकेशनल एजुकेशन प्रोवाइड करने के लिए जो एक्चुअल फील्ड में काम करने वाले पर्सन हैं, जो एक्चुअल वोकेशन के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, दे विल बी अटैच्ड विद द स्कूल। देन अनदर इम्पोर्टेंट मूव है कि बोर्ड एग्जाम्स जो आजकल बच्चों के लिए बहुत हेक्टिक हो रही है, इट विल बी मेक इजियर एंड they want to redesign it. This is the learning plan they have suggested for higher education. They have suggested that new umbrella regulator for all higher education except medical and legal courses, flexible, holistic, multidisciplinary UG degree for 3 or 4 years duration। यदि 4 years की duration होगी तो उसमें research को include किया जाना चाहिए। Then another important suggestion they have given that internship should be embedded in each and every program। तो स्किल ट्रेनिंग को बहुत ज्यादा एम्फेसिस किया गया है और जब आप कम्युनिटी को इन्वॉल्व करेंगे तो ऑफकोर्स आपको इंटर्नशिप की अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी। देन 1 to 2 year पीजी प्रोग्राम, एमफिल को उन्होंने किया है, एमफिल नहीं होगा इसके बाद में। देन कॉलेज एफिलिएशन सिस्टम टू बी फेज्ड आउट बाय 2030 तक। Then another important aspect, public spending on education by state center to raise 6% of GDP. Ministry of Human Resource Development to be renamed Ministry of Education। Separate technology forum, national technology forum create किया जाएगा for providing technological resources in the education। So this is some sort of glimpses हैं जो कि national education policy is suggest कर रही है। Now another very important digital drive जो कि the new education
Dr. Moharil sir has important meeting at 12:30.
Okay, so I'm finishing, sir. Within 5 minutes.
Can you please?
Within I will
Okay,
sum
thank
up.
you.
It's my last slide only. Okay, so the new education policy has emphasizing the integration of technology at all levels of learning, like technology in education, financial support. All these all are the few guidelines in professional education. All these are we are well aware about that. Now, another very important is the access to internet, access to education, and access to opportunity. This is one of the very important mandate of this national education policy. So this national education policy is majorly focusing on institutional restructuring and consolidation. That is technology use and integration, institutional restructuring and consolidation towards a more holistic education, optimal learning environment and support for students, motivated, energized, and capable faculty. This is very much needed. Then re-strengthening of teacher education. Once the teacher education is re-strengthened, of course, the school education will be improved. Then reimagination of the vocational education is, up to 6th standard onwards. They want that vocational education should be incorporated, and CBSE has already started that. Then maintenance of high quality research, effective governance and leadership, transforming an effective regulatory system. Another most important is the प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडियन लैंग्वेज आर्ट एंड कल्चर. ये बहुत जरूरी है, तभी हम अपनी इंडियन सिस्टम को मेंटेन कर पाएंगे, हमारे इंडियन हेरिटेज को आगे बढ़ा पाएंगे. सो वी हैव लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी, फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, इक्वल प्रमोशन, multidisciplinary approach across the science, social science, art, humanities, and sports. Emphasis on conceptual learning. That is also one of the, instead of rote learning, we have an opportunity to creative and critical thinking. Cultivating life skills like cooperation, teamwork, empathy, resilience is also opportunity. Continuous evaluation, regular formative assessment for learning rather than the existing summative assessment. So this is an opportunity where higher education institutions can strengthen their existing curriculum. Then they have created an academic bank of credit, which will help multiple exit and multiple entry. Education in mother tongue or regional language, which is also important. Vocational training, community engagement, growth of educational opportunity. ये बहुत ज़्यादा important aspect हैं जो कि higher education institutions को एक opportunity की तरह लेना होगा, तो हम अपने strengthen कर पाएंगे. Certain challenges we can face that quality teachers, recruitment training, accountability and autonomy is one of the issue. Inviting private sector funding, that is also one of the challenge for us. Foreign university is of course great challenge. Increasing GR, opening of new colleges, medium of instruction, because we have 22 active languages in our country. So all these 22 active languages को medium of instruction बनाना एक बहुत बड़ा challenge होगा हमारे सामने. Then privatization of higher education will of course lead to denial of social justice, क्योंकि जैसे ही private sectors की bodies ज़्यादा होंगी तो जो उनकी of course fee structure बढ़ेगी, तो social justice जो हम provide कर रहे हैं वो हमारे सामने एक challenge होगा. Then digital infrastructure development, internet penetration in remote part, that is also one of the challenge. Multidisciplinary approach is a great challenge. Then interdisciplinary higher education demands for a cultural shift, because अभी तक हमारा ऐसा है कि हम केवल साइंस पढ़ेंगे, हम केवल आर्ट्स पढ़ेंगे, तो आज के यूथ को वो कल्चरल शिफ्ट की तरफ मूव करना एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज होगा, क्योंकि मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी तो हम कन्वर्ट कर देंगे, बट whether our student will be willing to adopt this. Of course, in long term basis, it will benefit them, but at present इसको इसमें कन्वर्ट करना थोड़ा सा हमारे सामने चैलेंज होगा. Then orientation towards multidisciplinary education. Bottom up approach is required to revamp our education system. Funds allocation is also one of the challenge. Reimagination and adoption, pedagogical changes, that is also needed. क्योंकि यदि आप teaching research को include करेंगे, community को include करेंगे, तो आपको pedagogical changes की requirement होगी. Student teacher ratio भी बहुत बड़ा challenge है हमारे सामने. Multiple exit option, value of certification diplomas को हमको बढ़ाना होगा. Then higher order thinking is pedagogy training is also required for our teachers. Funding education budget from 3% to 6% of GDP, of course, will not enough. We need to increase that also. So I think that all these challenges are before us for adopting this national education policy. But if we are aware about these challenges, we all teachers are able to overcome all these challenges through our own approaches. So let us understand and implement this indigenous model of education to provide academically rich, learning community-based learning environment for all. Thank you so much for a patient hearing. And I feel sorry for that. I ahead of short of time. So thank you so much. If you have any queries, you can. I'll give you 2 minutes only for the discussion if anybody wants to know anything.
Ma'am, we'll take questions later on if you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sir. No issues. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am has talked on National Education Policy 2020, the challenges and opportunities in higher education institutions. Ma'am has given a broad overview of NEP with the key developments and amendments in the policy. Its objectives and emphasis on the cognitive development, productive and scientific temper, the development of creative imagination, equality, quality education, the interdisciplinary studies, and the community engagement with higher education, and the expansion of the research capabilities. At the same time, ma'am has also anticipated some challenges like, for example, that will the Indian universities will survive if the 100 new foreign universities are introduced in our country. So thank you so very much, ma'am, for this insightful elucidation of the NEP 2020. I thank you so very much. And we'll have an open session for discussion and question answer later on of the second session. So thank you, ma'am. Now we have with us second resource person, Dr. Avinash Moharil, sir, as a chief guest of the webinar and the second resource person, who will be speaking on the topic of multidisciplinary approach in NEP 2020 and skill-based orientation. Before I invite him for his presentation, please let me introduce you to him. Dr. Avinash B. Moharil, sir, has been working as a principal of Mahila Mahavidyalaya Amaravati since July 2021 till then. He had also been the Dean of Faculty of Humanities. He is a PhD in Comparative Literature from Sant Garge Baba Amaravati University, Amaravati. He is in possession of many social skills and competencies. For example, he is working as Joint Secretary of Navjeevan Society, and he is also running a military school in Amaravati district. He is working as steering committee member of Garge Baba Blood Bank and Component Center. He is working as Vice President of Vidarbha Sahitya Sangh, a literary organization, Amaravati chapter. He is also a member of All India English Teachers Association, and he is a life member of All India Principal Forum, etc. Let me talk about his organizational skills and competencies. He has implemented a very strong and effective system of academic administration in the college, where all the teachers are involved to carry out the educational process by self.
Madam, I'm sorry to stop you. I would like to put my thoughts, if you allow, because I'm also running short with the time. So please. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Bhowate sir, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I'm just running short of time, and that is why whatever things I want to communicate, that should not get lag behind. So I just thank you so much.
Yes, please.
I'm very happy to be part of this webinar, one-day national webinar organized by Dr. Madhukar Rao Vasnik, PWS Arts, Commerce and Science College. The esteemed principal of the college, my esteemed friend, Dr. Yeshwant Patil, the very dynamic Dr. Sudesh Bhowate sir, IQC coordinator, and his whole team to organize this very important webinar. I personally feel that, sir, I want to congratulate the whole team of organizers for one very simple reason, that this is the very right time where you have organized this webinar about national education policy. Now, I'm thankful to Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov also for making the ground to speak about certain issues. She has presented a very vast panorama of national education policy, and I know that it is very difficult to just squeeze all the things within a very short period of time. But madam, you have given a very good platform for me to speak. You have talked about challenges, you have talked about opportunities also. And I'm going to talk about only two aspects of national education, new national education policy. I'm thankful to Dr. Patil sir, honorable principal of the college, for organizing this. And this kind of webinar is very much necessary, because when the national education policy is at our doorstep, we have to go with such brainstorming sessions. Now, as there are, I can see that in the participants, there are students, there are teachers. Now, we have to bring people together and then go with brainstorming about the total crux of national education policy. The first question which comes in my mind, and that is the point where I want to start. Genuinely, being a teacher, I am also a teacher. Many teachers are here and students. Genuinely, if we ask question to ourselves that are we ready to accept national education policy? When this question is asked, then there is certain hesitation in our mind. There is certain hesitation that whether this national education policy will be implemented properly, whether in our present scenario, whether this will be adopted, accepted, or what kind of challenges we will face. Now, Dr. Vaishnov has elaborated it very nicely, and I'm thankful for her presentation. Now, see, this is the question to which we need to answer. And what is that question? The question is that are we ready to accept national education policy or not? On my behalf, and personally, I speak that when we enter into the zone of national education policy, we have to think that, first of all, change our mindset. Let us change our mindset, and how and why it is to be changed, because we have to believe that this national education policy is prepared by one of the few stalwarts in our India. Dr. Kasturi Rangan was the chairman of that committee, and some very esteemed people who had great vision about Indian education system had prepared this, and they have thought very correct line. They have thought on very correct line about the implementation of this national education policy. So, on the occasion of this webinar, I request all of you that let us take an approach, let us take an attitude that this national education policy will change, or rather will bring a much awaited change. Why I am saying much awaited change? अनेक वेळा म्हणजे मी थोडंसं मराठीतही बोलणार आहे. मॅडमनी सांगितलंच की नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसीमध्ये मदर टंगही सांगितलेलं आहे. I will use both the languages. Sometimes when teachers like us, when we sit and at the end of the day, when we think that about the education in our graduate colleges, education in our PG colleges, कधी कधी मनामध्ये विचार असा येतो की खरंच आपल्या कॉलेजमधून पास होणाऱ्या विद्यार्थ्यांना आपण काय देतोय, असा कधी कधी विचार येतो. आणि तो विचार जेव्हा येतो ना, at that time we think that we are not giving sufficient. That is the answer which we get. मी डॉक्टर यशवंत पाटील आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचे अध्यक्ष आहेत. मी त्यांच्या परवानगीने थोडंसं मोकळं बोलू इच्छितो. आय वुड लाईक टू स्पीक लिटल बिट विथ फ्रँक अप्रोच. कारण कन्झर्वेटिव्ह ठेवून जर बोललो ना तर जमणार नाही. आपल्याला कुठेतरी रिअलिस्टिक विचार करावा लागेल. आणि पहिला रिअलिस्टिक विचार हा आहे, द फर्स्ट रिअलिस्टिक थॉट इज दॅट are we able to give something which is very much necessary for the students in our graduate colleges, undergraduate colleges? I'm not saying that anybody is responsible for that. I'm talking about system. Now, if we say that yes, we are giving something to them, then why does it happen that when the students go out of the college, they go undertake certain courses? They undertake certain courses in private education institutes, and there they develop their competency, and then only they will be able to, they are able to get jobs. त्यांना नोकऱ्या का मिळतात, आणि नोकऱ्या मिळवण्यासाठी त्यांना अतिरिक्त ट्रेनिंग किंवा अतिरिक्त कोचिंग का घ्यावं लागतं, हा महत्वाचा प्रश्न. तुमच्या माझ्या व्यवस्थांमध्ये if everything is provided in our college, if everything is provided in our graduation system, if everything is provided in our PG system, then why does it happen that students go outside of the college, outside of the domain of the university, and they opt for certain courses which are necessary for them to become competent enough to get job? This is the answer which is to be provided through national education policy, and for that purpose, I personally feel is that we should mentally be prepared. The teacher should mentally be prepared. Teacher like me, like you, we should be mentally prepared. First of all, because many a times I stopped her, Megha, for introducing me. But one sentence she has uttered that I was working as a dean in the Faculty of Humanities in the university. And at that time, when such new things were introduced, I found that some of them, not all, but some of the teachers were objecting with the principles and with the implementation of it. No, it's okay. If we have some reservation, if we have some contradictory thoughts about it, we are able to correct it. But first of all, our approach should be, let us accept it, because now my next sentence is very much about, because this national education policy will revamp each and everything and will change, provide change which we wanted. We, the teachers, wanted. We wanted that our students must be provided all sorts of competencies inside the premises of the college. That is an opportunity which is given them. And that is why we have to think about two important aspects. I'm going to talk about only two important aspects which are covered by Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov also. One is multidisciplinary approach. काय झालं होतं आतापर्यंत? आपण फक्त भिंती उभ्या केल्या वेगवेगळ्या फॅकल्टीच्या आणि एका फॅकल्टीने दुसऱ्या फॅकल्टीकडे बघायचंय नाही, दुसऱ्या फॅकल्टीच्या प्राध्यापकांची कोलॅबरेशनही करायचं नाही, अशा पद्धतीची सिस्टीम आपली होती. अँड वी आर फॉलोइंग दॅट सिस्टीम. वी आर फॉलोइंग सच सिस्टीम्स दॅट the faculty shall be confined within the walls and then only focus on those subjects which are there in the faculties. Now time has changed to change it all over. Now why? Is it because it is mentioned in the national education policy? No. The answer is that just look out the job market which is available. बाहेर आपले पोरं जेव्हा पडणार आहेत ग्रॅज्युएशन होऊन पीजी होऊन, तेव्हा त्यांच्यासाठी जॉब मार्केट कसं अवेलेबल आहे अँड व्हॉट काइंड ऑफ प्रॉडक्ट द जॉब मार्केट इज नीडेड. What kind of product is needed and what kind of product? A product which is called as product म्हणतोय मी स्टुडंट्स ना, कारण आता अप्रोच तो ठेवावा लागणार आहे. ते प्रोडक्ट जे आहे ते स्टुडंट प्रोडक्ट आहे. दॅट शुड बी अ होलिस्टिक अँड ऑलराऊंड प्रोडक्ट. BA करून पास होणाऱ्या विद्यार्थिनीला कम्प्युटर आला नाही तर चालणार नाही. इट वोंट बी एक्सेप्टेबल. Even if she is studying the subjects like history, subjects like economics, political science, home economics, music, even if she doesn't learn or doesn't opt the subject like computer, but after her graduation, on the basis of the graduation knowledge, if she wants to appear for any job, the basic knowledge about computing shall be necessary. So now if knowledge of computers is not included in the curriculum, are we going to say that the students will not be able to do it? We have to open the gates, and those gates shall be opened through multidisciplinary approach. Rightly said by Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov in the challenges that it will be very difficult for us to adopt multidisciplinary approach. थोडंसं कठीण जाणार आहे आपल्याला. It will be difficult. I know it very well that if a single faculty college is there, how the different faculty subjects and how the different faculty orientation shall be introduced. We will talk about it. But first of all, the first thing is that let us start it with the small multi-faculty. Now this college, Dr. Yeshwant Patil's college, which is organized this webinar, this is an arts, commerce, science college. Now there are 3 faculties. At least we shall start some interdisciplinary projects within these 3 faculties and offer these opportunities to the students. We can start. My college is arts, commerce college, so I can think of organizing some activities. No, say for example, I'm giving just simple examples. I'm not talking about the whole curriculum changes and the things will be taken care, and the targets which is kept by national education policy, that is all of 2024, 2026, 2032 even. About the GER, the target is of 2032. So the policy makers of national education policy, they know it very well that the process will be slow and it will take time, but it shall be supported by teachers like you and me. Now I was giving an example that the students studying in my college in for example arts faculty, isn't it necessary for them to know something about commerce? Isn't it something necessary for them to understand about shares, about GDP? No, they do not have that subject, but why can't I make a kind of a program? Why can't I prepare something which will be very much acceptable and offerable to the students of arts? Now, if this kind of approach, if I open my mindset, if I open the thought process, or if I open the doors of my thought process, then it will be possible. So what I shall do, being a principal, that I will ask the commerce teachers and arts teachers to sit together and plan something which shall be open for all the students, because the common, now in Sant Gadge Baba Amaravati University, the choice based credit system which is introduced, a very beautiful concept is introduced there. Our honorable vice chancellor, under his leadership, a very beautiful concept, that is we are talking about general interest course. And now every subject's board of studies, we have asked them to prepare general interest course, which shall be acceptable and option to all the faculty members, all the faculty students. So for example, as I was talking that commerce people, the board of studies of commerce will prepare a general interest course. What shall be that? In that the banking will be discussed, in that share will be discussed, in that GDP will be discussed, in that budget of the nation shall be discussed, and all these issues are necessary to be known by every student irrespective of their faculty. Now this GIC shall be prepared, and in open elective mode for 5 credits, this course shall be available for all the students, including engineering faculty also. This is the basis of multidisciplinary approach. Now, Dr. Rajashree madam has rightly spoken that the vision in national education policy is very vast. They are planning to start multidisciplinary colleges itself, multidisciplinary institutes itself. But let us think about the ground level reality. सध्याची आपली जी ग्राउंड लेवल रियालिटी आहे ना, त्याचा विचार आपण करूयात. एकदम मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी कॉलेज तर मग लोकांच्या मनात येतं, मग वेगवेगळे ट्रस्ट आहेत, मग ते एकत्र कसे करायचे, मग फाटे फुटतात. त्याला विदर्भाच्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं तर विषयाला फाटे फुटतात. ते न फुटू देता what we can do is that at least at college level we can start preparing and thinking about such courses which can be applicable to other faculty students also. I can give one more example of my college. मी माझ्या कॉलेजचं उदाहरण देतो, म्हणजे ते मोठेपण सांगण्यासाठी नाही. These are the examples which are very much in tune with multidisciplinary approach. What happened that my college runs in arts faculty, humanities faculty, my college runs music course for UG and PG also. Now, I have called all the teachers, and what I have told them that they have to prepare a short-term course or a certificate course for 6 months of light music. That is Sugam Sangeet jala manta, the light music course. The course is prepared. Now the syllabus is prepared, and we have started that course. You will be surprised to know that the students who admitted in that particular course were more from commerce faculty than from arts faculty. Because there were many students in commerce faculty who were very good in singing, and they wanted the basic light music singing training. So that was provided by our music department, which belongs to humanities faculty, but now commerce faculty students are getting admission to that. So what I am saying is that the multidisciplinary approach, which is spoken in national education policy, must be given a nod by the teachers first. आता याच्यासाठी काय करावं लागेल, याच्यासाठी टीचर्सना मेहनत घ्यावी लागेल, आपल्याला मेहनत घ्यावी लागेल. इवन इफ आय बिलॉंग, नो इफ फॉर एक्झाम्पल, नो देयर वॉज अ क्वेश्चन, संत गाडगे बाबा अमरावती युनिव्हर्सिटी इज वन ऑफ द युनिव्हर्सिटीज इन इंडिया. वी हॅव मेड भारतीय संविधान, इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एज अ कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट. As environment is a compulsory subject, we have understood the importance of Indian constitution, and that constitution subject is compulsory. Now see how wonderfully it was implemented. But there was a question, who will teach? प्रश्न पहा कसे येतात. भारतीय एका बाजूनी being a teacher, we appreciate that the Indian constitution, which is the gift of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, which is to be taught to each and every student, and that must be compulsory in each and every college. Principally we accept it. But when it comes to teaching, then teachers and other people start questioning who will teach, and if 2 periods are to be taught, then how the workload will increase? The answer to that question is that being a teacher, I have to think that it is my responsibility. Now I am English teacher, I am a teacher of English, but I will take initiative, and I will prefer that I will teach Indian constitution. No, why can't I teach it? मी का नाही शिकू शकत? मी इंग्लिशचा टीचर आहे, पण मी शिकू शकणार नाही का भारतीय संविधान माझा विषय नाही आहे का? माझा विषय आहे. आणि म्हणून दॅट इज वाय द टीचर्स मस्ट टेक अ ब्रॉड व्ह्यू नाउ. And why they should take a broad view? It is because of the fact that this broad view will benefit the students. आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांना कोर्सेस करावं लागतात. माझ्या आर्ट्सच्या स्टुडंट्सला जर कम्प्युटरचं ट्रेनिंग मी कॉलेजमध्ये नाही दिलं, तर त्यांना बाहेर कम्प्युटरचा कोर्स लावा लागतो. 5-5 हजार रुपये फी भरावी लागते. त्यांना 500 रुपये फी भरण्याची त्यांची कुवत नाही. अशा मध्यमवर्गीय स्थितीमधून ते येतात. द स्टुडंट्स अप्रोच टू अवर कॉलेज, और मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द कॉलेजेस, they belong to poor families. No, they are not able to even pay 500 rupees fee for the college. How they will pay 50,000 rupees, 60,000 rupees fee for computer course? Now, how wonderful it will be that if we prepare, आपल्याकडे computer labs आहेत. No, why can't we prepare a general interest course or general competency course of computer applicable to all the students? It should be applicable to all the students. And I am sure about this particular aspect, that if we adopt this multidisciplinary consideration, then it is going to help the students. Now think of किती विद्यार्थी शिक्षक या ठिकाणी आहेत आणि युट्यूबच्या माध्यमातून अनेक जणांपर्यंत आपण पोहोचतो. शिक्षकाला मर्यादाच नाही आहे. I will give an example that कुठेही विषयाचा संबंध नसताना I have seen in one of the colleges, one teacher, no, the teacher belonged, विषय समजून घ्या, the teacher belonged to economics subject. He was a teacher of economics. But personally, in his personal life, he was a good photographer. He really liked photography. See how multidisciplinary approach helps us. No, he thought that as I know photography, mala photography yete, so what I will do is that he has prepared a small course of 30 hours, certificate course for photography. And he started teaching photography to the student, free thevla to them. And timing was at 4:30 to 5:30 when college is finished. All the periods are over. Then he used to take his camera and then he used to call the students. So some 30 students admitted in that particular course. No obligation. It was never reported in board of studies. Never ever. But it was just liking of the teacher and his urge to help his students. आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांना मदत करण्याची शिक्षकाची प्रामाणिक धारणा कुठपर्यंत नेऊ शकते बघा. काय मदत होऊ शकते, काय चमत्कार होऊ शकतो. I am giving that example and I have witnessed that. The teacher used to call the students in the afternoon at 4:30 to 5:30. He used to teach them photography. He has conducted that particular course for 50 hours. Students were not satisfied, so he conducted it again for 30 hours. So it was more than 100 hours course. इतका आनंदाने विद्यार्थी शिकायचे. Final result सांगतो मी त्याचा काय झाला. The final result was from after that particular workshop, in last 5 years, that college has not asked any professional photographer for taking photo of any of the program of the college. Even in the NAC accreditation visit, the students were taking photograph of every activity. Lakhs of rupees were saved. And moreover, अजून महत्वाची गोष्ट सांगतो, तुम्ही आनंदित व्हाल. You will be very happy that out of these 30 students, 15 students are now professional photographers. They take photography as their profession in their remaining time. These kind of approaches should be there. And that is why I spoke that multidisciplinary approach is very much necessary. The second topic which I would like to exercise and second topic I would like to talk is that the skill enhancement process. Now we have to look to our subjects through skills only. Skills are to be adopted and now every subject is to be taken into consideration with the skills. Now if I give example of my English subject, I teach English subject, I teach compulsory English, I teach English literature also, but both these subjects and the syllabus which is covered, I am not blaming anybody, but this syllabus is not enough competent, not enough able to provide competency to my students to get jobs. मला हे बघावं लागेल ना कुठेतरी. सर मला हे बघावं लागेल कुठेतरी की मी जो कोर्स शिकवतोय त्याच्यामधून माझ्या मुलांना जॉब मिळतोय का. And when I see that curriculum, then I see that syllabus curriculum is not sufficient. I don't say that is bad, that is very good, but that is not sufficient. So what should be incorporated? The content writing should be incorporated. I tell you, if content writing, if तुम्ही सर्च करा, फक्त पुण्या मुंबईच्या कंपन्यांना सर्च करा, you see that there are thousands of jobs which are available in content writing process. वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारच्या कंटेंट रायटिंग करणाऱ्या कंपन्या एस्टॅब्लिश झालेल्या आहेत. 15,000 ते 25,000 रुपये महिन्याचा पगार देतात ते पोरांना. पण आपल्या पोरांना ग्रॅज्युएशन होईपर्यंत कंटेंट रायटिंग म्हणजे काय हे माहित नाही. इज इट गुड? नो, इट इज नॉट. And that is why National Education Policy says that now this skill component should be introduced. We have to teach them literature. आपल्याला त्यांना माणूस बनवायचंच आहे. We need to make them. Dr. Rajashree Vaishnov has said that the National Education Policy says that now students should be good Indian citizens. That is the principal moral of National Education Policy. But at the same time, one word should be added that the student should be not only good Indian citizens, but they should be good and competent Indian citizens. They should stand by themselves. कुठेतरी इकॉनॉमिकली इंडिपेंडन्स त्यांना आला पाहिजे. हो, ते आपल्या पायावर उभे झाले पाहिजे ना. If we incorporate such things, now I have given you example of English subject, that if the skill like content writing, manuscript writing, the script writing. There are a number of things which are under the umbrella of content writing, but unfortunately very few universities are there which has incorporated this content writing course in the curriculum. Now choice-based credit system and national education policy gives us an opportunity to talk about all these things which are necessary. पुन्हा मी तोच विषय सांगतोय, मार्केटमध्ये काय पाहिजे ते बघितलं पाहिजे. I am agreeing that we should teach them good poems, चांगल्या कविता, चांगले संदर्भ, चांगले ग्रंथ, हे सगळं शिकवलं पाहिजे, फिलॉसॉफी शिकवली पाहिजे, पण त्याच्यासोबत त्यांना काय पाहिजे, एका मराठीच्या प्रत्येक विषयामध्ये, as I belong to humanities, that is why I am giving you examples of humanities, but every subject can think about it. Every subject do have its own, every subject do have his own competency of skill. In Marathi, वृत्तपत्र लेखन, writing in newspaper, this kind of course was created by one of the teachers, and that skill was provided to the students. Immediately after graduation, some of the 10 to 15 students were appointed in the different newspaper agencies to write news. Now they need companies and other faculties and other fraternities, they need such kind of things. Now time has come to think about it. एक फार सुंदर वाक्य नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसीचं आहे. अ व्हेरी ब्युटिफुल सेंटेन्स इज देअर इन नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसी दॅट पुटिंग टीचर इन टू द हार्ट ऑफ द सिस्टीम. इट इज सेड इन दॅट पुटिंग टीचर टू द हार्ट ऑफ द सिस्टीम. हार्ट म्हणजे तुमच्या माझ्या बॉडीचा सगळ्यात महत्वाचा पार्ट असतो, तिथे टीचरला ठेवलं पाहिजे. बिकॉज टीचर इज, आय रिमेंबर द सेंटेन्स बाय R.A. चाणक्य, शिक्षक कभी साधारण नहीं होता. शिक्षक कभी साधारण नहीं होता, प्रलय और निर्माण उसकी गोद में पलते हैं. Now, why R.A. Chanakya has said that? Because he knew the fact that if change has to be brought, it shall be brought only by the teacher and teacher. And that is why I appeal all the teachers that when we think about skills, who will incorporate these skills? हे आपल्याला शिकावं लागतील पहिले. टीचर्सना हे स्किल्स आयडेंटिफाय करावे लागतील, टीचर्सना हे स्किल्स डिफाईन करावे लागतील. करिक्युलम मध्ये आले नाही तरी प्रायव्हेटली आपल्या कॉलेजमध्ये आपल्याला द्यावं लागतील. बिकॉज वी वॉन्ट अवर स्टुडंट्स टू बी व्हेरी मच कॉम्पिटंट. इट इज नॉट सफिशियंट जस्ट टू कम्प्लीट द सिलेबस. इट इज नॉट जस्ट सफिशियंट टू जस्ट टेक देअर एक्झामिनेशन. बट व्हॉट इज नीडेड इज दॅट वी हॅव टू ट्रेन देम अबाउट मेनी थिंग्स. कुठपर्यंत शिकवावं लागतं. मी एका अमरावती सारख्या शहरातल्या कॉलेजचा प्राचार्य आहे आणि माझं एक मत मी शेअर करतोय की अगदी स्टुडंट्सना बसायचं कसं इथपासून शिकवावं लागतं. We need to teach them how to sit. We need to teach them how to go for interview. We need to teach them how to be confident. We need to teach them how to speak on telephone also. These are the things to be taught to the student. They are not incorporated in our curriculum, but they are skills, and we have to find out opportunities to incorporate them in our skills. So that is why I was talking about only two aspects of national education policy which are very much necessary for the development of the students. Because या महाविद्यालयाचे आदरणीय प्राचार्य पाटील सर यांना साक्षी ठेवून मी सांगू इच्छितो की why he is doing it. भोवते सर जे काम करू राहिले हे वेबिनार कशासाठी आहे. इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द फॅक्ट दॅट इवन इफ देर आर 91 people who have joined for this webinar and some of the teachers are there, we are talking and we are doing all these things for the lakhs of students who are waiting for some change to be adopted in the college. They are waiting eagerly. Sometimes we complain that why students do not turn up to the colleges. ज्यावेळेस कॉलेज असतं त्यावेळेस ते कोचिंग क्लासमध्ये असतात कुठल्या तरी. So it is very much necessary that we have to understand that we need to bring them to the college. We need to provide them certain things which shall be necessary for them to get jobs, to start entrepreneurship. स्वतःचा व्यवसाय, छोट्या छोट्या गोष्टी ह्या त्यांनी केल्या पाहिजे, स्वतःच्या पायावर उभं झालं पाहिजे. हे करण्यासाठी करता येऊ शकतं. माझा वेळ संपत आलेला आहे म्हणून बोलणं संपवायच्या वेळेस फक्त एक उदाहरण सांगतो. Only one thing I would like to share about the skills. Now, one teacher of history was arguing me at some time that how history subject can cultivate skills. कारण बरेच वेळ असं की इतिहासासारखा विषय असेल तर त्याच्यामध्ये स्किल्स कसं आणायचं अशा पद्धतीने त्याचं माझं आर्ग्युमेंट सुरू होतं. आय हॅव गिवन हिम एन एक्झाम्पल. दॅट एक्झाम्पल आय एम गोइंग टू कोट फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. अँड आय गॉट आन्सर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन वेअर at Andaman Nicobar Islands. I was there at Andaman Nicobar Islands for a trip, family trip, and when I entered into the cellular jail, what I saw, मी मराठीत सांगू इच्छितो थोडंसं जरा अजून इम्पॅक्ट त्याचा येईल. मी आतमध्ये गेलो अंदमान निकोबारच्या जेलमध्ये, त्या सेल्युलर जेलमध्ये डाव्या बाजूला मला एक टेबल दिसला आणि तिथे तिथल्या कॉलेजचे काही विद्यार्थी सुंदर टी शर्ट आणि हॅट घालून उभे होते. मी त्यांना विचारलं, माझं सहज चौकस बुद्धी म्हणून मी त्यांना विचारलं की काय करताय. दे हॅव एक्सप्लेन्ड व्हॉट दे हॅव डन. तिथे 10 पोरं होते, 10 पोरं पोरी, काही पोरी होत्या, काही पोरं होते. अँड दे हॅव एक टीचर होते सोबत. त्यांनी मला असं सांगितलं की वी हॅव डेव्हलप्ड दिस कोर्स इन अवर करिक्युलम अँड दॅट कोर्स इज कॉल्ड टुरिझम अँड गाईडिंग. टुरिझम अँड गाईड चा एक सुंदर कोर्स त्यांनी तयार केला. काय कमाल आहे बघा, काय केली त्यांनी. 6 महिन्याचा कोर्स आहे तो, त्या कॉलेजच्या सगळ्या विद्यार्थ्यांना दिला जातो. आज सेल्युलर जेलमध्ये संबंध वर्षभरामध्ये 2.5 ते 3 लाख लोक व्हिजिट करतात. हे पोरं तिथे असतात आणि 10 लोक टुरिस्टच्या बॅचला एक पोरगा सोबत दिला जातो. तो पोरगा मस्त हॅट वगैरे घालून त्याचं ट्रेनिंग झालेलं आहे, सेल्युलर जेलचा पूर्ण अभ्यास त्याचा झालेला आहे, तो कोर्समध्ये शिकवला त्याला. आणि मग त्या पोराला सोबत देऊन 1 तास 1.5 तास तो पूर्ण सेल्युलर जेल फिरवून आणतो आणि 1 तासाच्या त्या कामाचे त्या पोराला 500 रुपये मिळतात. ही अर्न्स 500 रुपीज. असे 10 पोरांच्या बॅचेस दिवसभर चालतात. द टीचर वॉज प्राऊडली टेलिंग मी, हे मला सांगताना अंगावर काटा येतो. द टीचर वॉज टेलिंग मी दॅट सर, दिस कोर्स बिलॉंग्स टू ह्युमॅनिटीज फॅकल्टीज, बट आय एम व्हेरी मच हॅपी टू टेल यू दॅट ऑलमोस्ट ऑल 1600 स्टुडंट्स ऑफ अवर कॉलेज हॅज अडॉप्टेड दिस पर्टिक्युलर कोर्स अँड ऑल 1600 स्टुडंट्स हॅव डन दिस. One more important sentence he has uttered, and that is the sentence and crux of my thought. What he said is that, ते असं मला म्हणाले की सर, या कोर्सचा फायदा असा झाला की आमच्या विद्यार्थ्यांना 500 रुपये प्रति तास या हिशोबाने इतके टुरिस्ट येतात आणि पैसे इतके मिळतात. किती मिळतात ते जाऊ द्या, महत्वाचा भाग मी सांगतोय तुम्हाला. ते असं म्हणाले की सर, या कोर्समुळे आमच्या महाविद्यालयातल्या 1600 पोरांचं एज्युकेशन 3 वर्षात ते स्वतःच करतात, घरी पैसे मागत नाहीत. दे डोंट आस्क मनी फॉर देअर पेरेंट्स, दे अर्न अँड लर्न. What can be the best example of skill orientation other than this? This is the idea behind national education policy. This is the idea behind Dr. Kasturi Rangan's vision, and that we need to accept wholeheartedly first. शंका कुशंका फार न काढता, काही थोडासा बदल लागत असेल तर तो करूयात, पण मूळ पॉलिसीला विरोध न करता, let us accept it that this policy will going to change and revamp each and every situation, each and every system in our college, which ultimately going to benefit our students and they will become competent Indian citizens in future. आणि असं जर आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांचं होत असेल, असे जर स्किलचे कोर्सेस आपण तयार करून आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांचं पूर्ण शिक्षण वडिलांना, आई वडिलांना पैसा न मागता करून देऊ शकत असू, याच्यासारखं पुण्य कुठलं आहे आणि याच्यासारखं टीचर असण्याचं भाग्य कुठलं असू शकतं. That is the blessing that we are the teachers, and I personally feel is that as being a teacher, we are in that faculty, we are in the fraternity of teachership. Teacher is a person who can make the change, and this change can be done only through such brainstorming. And that is why माझं संपवत असताना I am going to end my thoughts which I wanted to just present. I'm sorry that I need to run for a meeting in the university, but I am so thankful to Dr. Patil sir and Dr. Bhowate sir. तुम्हा दोघांचे आभार, तुमच्या टीमचे आभार याच्यासाठी. इट इज व्हेरी मच नेसेसरी. सर, आय रिक्वेस्ट यू टू ऑर्गनाइज सच वर्कशॉप्स मोर अँड मोर देन अँड ऑफन because this positive environment about national education policy is very much needed. Your step is very positive, Dr. Patil sir. Your step is very positive, because if you take such steps, if you come up with some positive thoughts, then this positive energy will definitely motivate all the teachers and students to accept it, and ultimately it will benefit to the nation, because this national education policy says that if it is implemented in the best possible manner, the nation will be built and we shall be the nation builders. So I am very much thankful to Dr. Patil sir, Dr. Bhowate sir for inviting me. वेळ कमी होता, पण जेवढा वेळ मिळाला तेवढ्यात मी सांगण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. I hope that you all have liked that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सर, खूप धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for the wonderful talk on national education policy with very practical and realistic approach, and with a focus on multidisciplinary studies and skill orientation with excellent examples. And you have given a very important message to the teachers also, that this revolutionary change can be brought about only by teachers. Thank you so very much.
सर, तुमची परवानगी असेल तर मी निघतो मग. थँक्यू.
चालेल.
खूप खूप आभार, सगळ्यांचे खूप आभार, जे ऐकतायत सगळ्यांचे.
थँक्यू सर.
Thank you, Moharil sir. It was wonderful listening to you.
थँक्यू सर.
Sir, the session is open for question, answer, and discussion. With your permission.
principal sir is also supposed to join Vaibhavasi. I mean, he's already late. So I'm afraid we cannot have a question and answer session now. I would certainly go directly to the principal.
Okay, so I would like to invite Dr. Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Yeshwant Patil sir, for the presidential speech.
May I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
आज आपल्या महाविद्यालयामध्ये आभासी पद्धतीने राष्ट्रीय वेबिनारचं जे आयोजन करण्यात आलं त्यात मुख्य विषय राष्ट्रीय शैक्षणिक धोरण 2020. या शैक्षणिक धोरणाच्या संदर्भात आमच्या विद्यार्थ्यांना, आमच्या शिक्षकांना आणि या समाजातील प्रत्येक नागरिकाला त्याचं अवलोकन व्हावं, त्याचा अभ्यास व्हावा हा मुख्य उद्देश. आणि त्या दृष्टिकोनातून आम्ही डॉक्टर अविनाश मोहरील, प्राचार्य महिला महाविद्यालय अमरावती आणि डॉक्टर राजश्री वैष्णव, अधिष्ठाता आणि विभाग प्रमुख, राष्ट्रसंत तुकडोजी महाराज नागपूर विद्यापीठ यांना या ठिकाणी आम्ही आमंत्रित केलेलं होतं. त्यांनी खरंच सुंदर असं मार्गदर्शन आम्हा सर्वांना केलं. त्याबद्दल मी संस्थेच्या वतीनं, महाविद्यालयाच्या वतीनं आणि आमच्या सर्व आयोजकाकडून त्यांचं ऋणी आहेच. आज आपण बघतो आहे की मॅडमनी जे काही मांडलं, विभागात जे शैक्षणिक धोरण विभागलं गेलं आहे त्यामध्ये शालेय शिक्षण, उच्च शिक्षण, इतर महत्वाचे केंद्रीय मुद्दे आणि अंमलबजावणी अशा 4 विभागात मॅडमनी इतकं उत्कृष्ट पद्धतीनं आपल्या समोर मांडलं. या अगोदर मी माझ्या महाविद्यालयात सर्व प्राध्यापकांना सुद्धा सांगितलेलं होतं की आपण हे नवीन शैक्षणिक जे धोरण आहे ते एकदा तुम्ही वाचा, त्याचा अभ्यास करा, त्याचं अवलोकन करा आणि नंतर त्याची अंमलबजावणी कशी करायची या दृष्टिकोनातून आज अविनाश मोहरील सरांनी एक धडाकेबाज किंवा खरंच ज्याला आपण म्हणतो की प्रॅक्टिकल व्ह्यू ठेवून त्यांनी या ठिकाणी जे संभाषण केलं त्यामध्ये तुमच्या लक्षात आलं असेल की आपण आज जी शिक्षण प्रणाली आहे आणि नवीन शैक्षणिक धोरणात ज्या गोष्टी आपल्याला सांगितल्या गेल्या किंवा त्या ठिकाणी नमूद केल्या गेल्या किंवा कस्तुरीरंजननी या नवीन शिक्षण धोरणात त्या नमूद केलेल्या आहे त्या खरंच या माझ्या प्रत्येक विद्यार्थ्यापर्यंत कशा पोहोचतील. मग ते शालेय शिक्षण असो, उच्च शिक्षण असो, संशोधन असो किंवा अजून काही गोष्टी असो, या दृष्टिकोनातून ज्या गोष्टी या ठिकाणी नमूद केलेल्या आहे त्या आपल्याला आज ज्या अविनाश मोहरील सरांनी प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरणातून आपल्याला स्पष्ट करून दिलं. आज आपण बघतोय की आपल्या देशातला प्रत्येक विद्यार्थी होतकरू आहे, अभ्यासू आहे, जिज्ञासू आहे, परंतु तो खरंच स्वतःच्या पायावर उभं राहण्याइतपत शिक्षण घेतो का? आज आपण बघतोय पारंपरिक शिक्षण प्रणालीमध्ये BA, BCom, BSc, MA, MCom, MSc झाल्यानंतर कित्येक विद्यार्थी बेरोजगार आहेत. स्वतःच्या पायावर तो कसा उभा राहील, त्याचा विद्यार्थ्याचा सर्वांगीण विकास कसा होईल, आणि या सर्व गोष्टी आम्हा सर्वांना मान्य करावा लागेल आणि त्या आपल्याला आपल्या शिक्षण प्रणालीमध्ये करून घ्यावं लागेल. त्या दृष्टिकोनातून मोहरील सरांनी खूपच सुंदर उदाहरणं दिली की मग आर्ट्स असो, कॉमर्स असो की सायन्स असो, इंटरडिसिप्लिनरीचा जेव्हा आपण विचार करतो आहे त्यावेळी निरनिराळ्या वेगवेगळ्या पद्धतीने वेगवेगळ्या विषयांवर मंथन करून ते विषय आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांपर्यंत कसे पोहोचवता येतील आणि त्याचं प्रतिबिंब प्रत्येक विषयाच्या किंवा प्रत्येक विद्याशाखेच्या विद्यार्थ्यांपर्यंत त्याचं ज्ञानार्जन कसं तो विद्यार्थी करेल या दृष्टिकोनातून सुद्धा विचार होणं तेवढंच आवश्यक आहे. आणि भविष्यात ही काळाची गरज आहे. आज आपण बघतोय की ही गरज जर विद्यार्थ्यांपर्यंत आणि विद्यार्थ्यांची जी रुची आहे, जी त्याची खरंच आवश्यकता आहे, त्या दृष्टिकोनातून आपण जर ह्या सर्व बाबी त्यांच्यापर्यंत पोहोचवल्या नाही तर मला तरी असं वाटतं की आपण नवीन शैक्षणिक धोरणाचा स्वीकार केला नाही. आणि सगळ्यात पहिले मोहरील सरांनी प्रश्न केला की शैक्षणिक धोरणाच्या संदर्भात आज आपण बघतोय की मतऐक्यता नाही. काही लोक त्याच्यावर टीका टिप्पणी करतात आहे, काही लोक त्याच्यावर विचार विमर्श करतात आहे, काही लोकांनी अंमलबजावणीला सुरुवात केलेली आहे. म्हणून आज भविष्याचा वेध जर घेतला आणि या देशाच्या प्रगतीकरिता हा माझा विद्यार्थी एक केंद्रबिंदू आहे आणि या विद्यार्थ्याची खरंच शैक्षणिक प्रगती व्हायला हवी, त्याची सामाजिक प्रगती व्हायला हवी, त्याचा सर्वांगीण विकास व्हायला हवा आणि त्याच्या कुटुंबाला आणि त्याच्या समाजात त्याचं काहीतरी स्थान निर्माण व्हायला हवं. त्या दृष्टिकोनातून या सर्व बाबी या ठिकाणी ज्या अंतर्भूत केलेल्या आहे आणि या नवीन शैक्षणिक धोरणाचं जे उद्दिष्ट आहे, त्याचं ध्येय आहे, त्याचे ध्येय सुद्धा या ठिकाणी वैष्णव मॅडमनी इतक्या विस्तृत पद्धतीने आपल्या समोर मांडले. मी सुद्धा थोडंफार मांडणार होतो, परंतु मला असं वाटतं की वेळ पण खूप झालेला आहे आणि वैष्णव मॅडमनी ज्या प्रकारे पूर्ण 4 भागाचं विश्लेषण आपल्या समोर ठेवलं आणि ते विश्लेषणाचा अभ्यास जर तुम्ही प्रत्येकाने केला तर त्यावेळी तुमच्या लक्षात येईल की नवीन शैक्षणिक धोरणामध्ये काय आमूलाग्र बदल दिसतात आहे आणि ते आमूलाग्र बदल आज आपण उच्च शिक्षणात करणं अनिवार्य आहे. आज आम्ही महाविद्यालयात शिक्षक म्हणून कार्यरत आहोत. आपणा सर्वांची ही कर्तव्य आहे, जबाबदारी आहे आणि ती नैतिक जबाबदारी आहे आणि त्या नैतिक जबाबदारीला आपल्याला स्वीकारावं लागेल आणि ती आपण स्वीकारू आणि त्या दृष्टिकोनातून आपण या उच्च शिक्षणाचा दर्जा कशा सुधारेल आणि महाविद्यालयातला माझा प्रत्येक विद्यार्थी मी ऑडिबल
येस सर,
येतोय ना, आवाज येतोय ना?
येस सर, येस.
होय होय.
माझ्या या महाविद्यालयातला प्रत्येक विद्यार्थी कसा सुसंस्कृत, स्वतःच्या पायावर उभा आणि खरंच भविष्याचा वेध घेतलेला असा विद्यार्थी निर्माण करण्याची आता वेळ आलेली आहे. आणि आज आपण बघतो महाविद्यालयांमधली स्थिती आणि ती खंत मोहरील सरांनी आपल्या भाषणातून, आपल्या वक्तव्यातून, आपल्या मार्गदर्शनातून आमच्यापर्यंत पोहोचवली. आणि मला तरी असं वाटतं की आम्ही कला वाणिज्य विद्याशाखेमध्ये गुरफटलेलो आहोत, तरी सुद्धा आम्ही त्या विविध विषयांच्या दृष्टिकोनातून विविध उपक्रम राबवून विद्यार्थ्यांपर्यंत ते कसे पोहोचवता येतील या दृष्टिकोनातून विचार नक्कीच करू. आणि मोहरील सर आपलं हे मार्गदर्शन आमच्या सर्व प्राध्यापकांकरता, विद्यार्थ्यांकरता खरंच लाभदायी आहे. वैष्णव मॅडम, आपण आमच्या विनंतीला मान देऊन आम्हाला सर्वांना मार्गदर्शन केलं, अभ्यासपूर्ण मार्गदर्शन केलं. पीपीडी द्वारे आम्हाला सर्व या नवीन शैक्षणिक धोरणाच्या संदर्भातील सर्व मुद्देसूद माहिती आमच्यापर्यंत पोहोचवली. खरंच मी आपला ऋणी आहेच. असंच मार्गदर्शन, असं सहकार्य वेळोवेळी आपल्या लोकांचं लाभत राहील अशी मी आशा करतो. आणि मला सुद्धा एक ऑनलाईन मीटिंग 12:30लाच होती, त्यात मी लेट झालेलो आहे. शेवटी माझा मोबाईल उचलून ठेवायला लावला मी, इतके फोन येत होते. तरी सर्वांच्या जास्त वेळ न घेता या ठिकाणी माझ्या या वक्तव्याला मी या ठिकाणी विराम देतो. आणि जे लोक या ठिकाणी आमच्या या आभासी पद्धतीने आम्ही या ठिकाणी राष्ट्रीय वेबिनार घेतला, माझी सर्व मित्रमंडळी, प्राचार्य, प्राध्यापक वर्ग, विद्यार्थी, माझे सर्व माझ्या महाविद्यालयातील प्राध्यापक, वरिष्ठ महाविद्यालय, कनिष्ठ महाविद्यालय, MCVC, त्याचप्रमाणे माझे लाडके विद्यार्थी या वेबिनार करता आवर्जून उपस्थित आहे. मी त्यांचं सर्वांचं या ठिकाणी स्वागत करतो, अभिनंदन करतो आणि असं सहकार्य वेळोवेळी आपण सर्व करत राहाल ही अपेक्षा करतो आणि थांबतो. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insightful observations and comments. And thank you for your guidance and support. We are thankful to you. Thank you very much. Now we are moving towards the end of this program. And I would like to invite Dr. Narendra Bagre, sir, Honorable Vice Principal, to please propose a report. Over to Bagre.
Thank you very much, Dr. Megha Ramteke, ma'am. When life is bitter, say thank you and grow. And when life is sweet, say thank you and celebrate. डॉक्टर मधुकर वासनिक PWS कला वाणिज्य और विज्ञान महाविद्यालय में आयोजित नई शिक्षा नीति पर आयोजित वेबिनार के इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित आदरणीय प्रमुख वक्ता डॉक्टर अविनाश मोहरिल सर, जो कि प्राचार्य महिला महाविद्यालय अमरावती से जुड़े थे, गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर डॉक्टर राजश्री वैष्णव मैम, जो कि प्रोफेसर एंड हेड ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड डीन फैकल्टी ऑफ इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी स्टडीज अमरावती, यहां से हमारे से जुड़ी हुई थी। सबसे पूर्व आज की इस कार्यक्रम की इस आयोजित वेबिनार में हमारे महाविद्यालय के प्राचार्य डॉक्टर यशवंत पाटिल सर, जो कि सकारात्मक भूमिका लेते हुए आज के इस कार्यक्रम के आयोजन में हमें कुछ अल्प अवधि में इस कार्यक्रम में बहुत ही मदद की। और आज के व्यक्तित्व में उन्होंने यह कहा कि विद्यार्थियों ने सिर्फ परीक्षार्थी ही नहीं बनना चाहिए, बल्कि ज्ञानार्थी बनना चाहिए। सर, हमारे इस आयोजन समिति की ओर से और आपके इस अध्यक्षता के रूप में आपके व्यक्तित्व के लिए मैं तहे दिल से आपका आभारी हूं। साथ ही साथ बात की जाए कि हमारे आज के प्रमुख वक्ता डॉक्टर अविनाश मोहरिल सर, नई शिक्षा नीति की जो प्रमुख दो बातें उन्होंने कही है, जिसमें एक मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी और दूसरी है सेल्फ स्किल ओरिएंटेड कोर्सेस, और इतनी सरलता से सहजता से अपनी प्यार की वाणी से हमारे इस आयोजित कार्यक्रम में सभी प्राध्यापक को, विद्यार्थियों को और आमंत्रित निमंत्रित को सहजता से यह समझा दिया, ताकि इस शिक्षा नीति के तहत कुछ बारीकियों को दूर करते हुए जिस तरह हम निसर्ग में बदलाव करते हैं और अपने आप को अमल करते हैं, साथ ही साथ हम एक व्यक्ति बनने के लिए क्यों न उस बदलाव की तैयारी कीजिए। और इस बदलाव का जो भारतीय समाज का प्रत्येक क्षेत्र है, उन्हें सब में बदलाव आना चाहिए, और सबसे बदलाव आना चाहिए तो हमारी शिक्षक फ्रेटर्निटी पे। और हमारे सामने ये चैलेंज है कि हमारे पास जो बच्चा अगर एक कच्चा रॉ मटेरियल लेते हुए आता है, तो उसे फिनिश प्रोडक्ट कैसे बनाया जाए, ये उस संस्था के, उस प्राध्यापकों के, उस शिक्षकों की यह आमूलाग्र जवाबदारी है। सर, बहुत दिल से मैं शुक्रिया अदा और आपका आभारी हूं कि आप इस आभासी मंच पर जुड़े और कुछ ही क्षणों में इतनी बड़ी नई शिक्षा प्रणाली को एक ग्रास रूट को लेते हुए हमारे बच्चों को एम्प्लॉय बनाने के लिए हमें जो मार्गदर्शन दिया, मैं तहे दिल से आपका आभारी हूं। और साथ ही साथ हमारे राष्ट्रीय संत महाराज नागपुर विद्यापीठ की हमारे मैडम, जो कि नागपुर में नहीं, महाराष्ट्र में नहीं, संपूर्ण देश में और अदर देशों में भी विश्वविख्यात है, डॉक्टर राजश्री वैष्णव मैम, जो कि डीन ऑफ फैकल्टी इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी स्टडीज से बिलोंग्स करती है। मैम, आपने सैद्धांतिक रीति से जो नई शिक्षा प्रणाली के जो चैलेंजेस है और चैलेंजेस को दूर करने के लिए एक ह्यूमन बीइंग को कैसा अपने आप को स्टैंड करना चाहिए, आपके इस मार्गदर्शन के लिए हमें सब लाभान्वित हुए हैं। आपका आभारी हूं। और साथ ही साथ इस वेबिनार में जुड़े विदर्भ, महाराष्ट्र और राष्ट्रीय स्तर से जुड़े सभी आदरणीय प्रिंसिपल्स और प्राध्यापक वर्ग, साथ ही मैं कुछ सभी के नाम तो लेना नहीं चाहता, लेकिन कुछ ऐसी शख्सियत जुड़ी थी इस वेबिनार में जो कि नई शिक्षा नीति को समझने के लिए बहुत चाहती गए 2 दिन से, ये कार्यक्रम कब चालू होगा, कुछ चीजें मिलेगी, जिसमें डॉक्टर चकुले सर है, डॉक्टर सतीश पावड़े है, डॉक्टर समृद्धि टापरे मैडम है, डॉक्टर दीप्ति पारती है, डॉक्टर मनीषा पांडे है, प्रिंसिपल सुरेश भागवत सर है, और अनगिनत डॉक्टर विवेक दुलानी जी है, डॉक्टर एलेवार सर है, और बहुत सारे ऐसी शख्सियत थी। आज आपने इस कार्यक्रम में आकर इस कार्यक्रम को हमें बनाने में जो मदद की और सुने, आप सभी का मैं तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूं, आभारी भी हूं। साथ ही साथ आज के इस प्रोग्राम में हमारे कन्वीनियर और नए कोऑर्डिनेटर डॉक्टर सुदेश भोवते सर, इन्होंने जो प्रथम पहल की और आने वाले दिनों में जो कि शिक्षा नीति शुरू हो रही है उसके पूर्व यह कार्यक्रम को आयोजित किया, मैं उनका भी तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूं और आभार मानता हूं। उत्कृष्ट संचालन के लिए डॉक्टर मेघाराम टेके मैम, इनके संचालन को छोड़ो, उनकी संचालन ही उसका एक व्यक्तिमत्व का पहलू है, ये जानते हुए उन्हें भी आभारी हूं। और जिनके बदौर ये कार्यक्रम नहीं हो सकता वो है हमारे महाविद्यालय के टीचर्स और हमारे क्लस्टर सभी महाविद्यालय के टीचर और उनके साथ में जुड़े हुए यूट्यूब पे अनगिनत स्टूडेंट जो यहाँ जुड़े हुए हैं। आपके बदौलत ये प्रोग्राम हो नहीं सकता, इसीलिए आपका इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित होना, पूरा समझ लेना और अपने लाइफ को बनाने के लिए, अपने जिंदगी को बनाने के लिए, सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट हो, वेज एम्प्लॉयमेंट को बनाने के लिए शिक्षा नीति को अपनाना जरूर है। चैलेंज तो आते हैं, परिवर्तन तो आता है, लेकिन परिवर्तन ही हमारा सक्सेस है। उस पॉजिटिव सेंस को देखते हुए आप सब जुड़े, आप सभी का मैं आभार मानता हूं। लेकिन विद द परमिशन ऑफ चेयर, हमारे इस कार्यक्रम के अंत में हम राष्ट्रगीत से यह कार्यक्रम का अंत करेंगे। उसके पहले मैं डॉक्टर नरेंद्र बागड़े उप प्राचार्य आपसे विदा लेता हूं और सुदेश भोवते सर से विनंती करता हूं कि राष्ट्रगीत शुरू किया जाए। और सभी व्यक्तियों से आदर है कि आप सभी अपने जगह खड़े हो जाए, सभी व्यक्तियों से मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है।
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग, तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
थैंक यू सो मच टू वन एंड ऑल, थैंक यू सो मच। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
मीटिंग क्लोज करने से पहले एक छोटा सा अनाउंसमेंट है। सभी पार्टिसिपेंट जिन्होंने इस वेबिनार के लिए रजिस्टर किया था, और आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट है कि प्लीज आप फीडबैक भर लें। फीडबैक भी जो है व्हाट्सएप पे ऑलरेडी सर्कुलेट किया जा चुका है। अगर से नहीं आप तक फीडबैक नहीं आप तक पहुंचा है तो हमारे महाविद्यालय के किसी भी प्राध्यापक से आप कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं और फीडबैक ले सकते हैं। और इस वेबिनार में पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए आपका सर्टिफिकेट जो है विद इन 4-5 डेज आपके ईमेल पर, जो आपने रजिस्ट्रेशन के वक्त यहाँ दिया था, उस पर भेजा जाएगा। थैंक यू वंस अगेन ऑल, एंड आई एम मेकिंग अनाउंसमेंट वंस अगेन, those who have registered here will be sent certificate of participation within next 4-5 days. Thank you one and all, and here we are closing this meeting.